Hey fuckers. Honestly, I spent the last 20 something minutes debating whether or not to do this because I feel like shit. But we're here and we're doing this. This is pretty hype. Hopefully this is a pretty big patch. The scroll bar on the side you can see is pretty big, so I'm pretty fucking excited. I hope there's some big map changes, but honestly, I don't know. With a big patch like this, a big number, should be a big patch, you kind of hope for some really significant changes. So hopefully it's not just changing stuff that exists already. Hopefully we get some properly new stuff. Hopefully some hero reworks, and yeah. I guess let's see what this is all about. Okay, Captain's Note second pick phase has changed from Dire Radiant to Dire Radiant Radiant Dire, assuming Radiant is first pick. Fine. Okay, multiple critical strike procs are now rolled from strongest to weakest and will stop rolling once a proc occurs. This results in the same DPS but is less likely to have... It's a math fixer. We take those, okay. Cooldown percentage reduction no longer stacks. Big sad. Increased HP regen of all heroes with 0, 2.25, nice. Water rune healing reduced a lot. Second Roshan no longer drops cheese. Okay, that's fine. Neutral keeps now drop 5 neutral items per tier. Why wasn't it that the whole time? That way everyone can have one. Holy shit, this is... Always thought that. Okay, bonus HP reduced, fine. Aeon Disc cooldown increases by 20 seconds every time it triggers up to 165 seconds. Jesus, they hate Aeon Disc, alright. Wow. Bash bonus damage, yeah, Abyssal Blade is really struggling since they removed the blink. It's fine. Aether Lens mana regeneration bonus reduced 3.0 to 2.5, okay. Ability cooldown reduction on Arcane Blink. That's fair, that's nice. It's mostly useful for heroes that have ultimates that have a long cast time. Like Shadow Fiend, Sand King, and mostly them, to be fair. The Aether Lens change I will talk on slightly. It's, yeah, it upgrading into Octarine was a massive buff, and they didn't really change the stats enough, so this is completely fair. More of a round number for Arcane Boots, can't hurt, nice. Nerf to Bottle, takes longer to restore and heals less. More stats, cost reduced on Mango. I fucking love that. That's probably, I don't know the exact math, but that's definitely going to allow for possibly an entire extra Mango on some starting items, so that's really good. And it just helps supports, which I'm always a fan of. Yule's mana regen reduced by 1. That's pretty big, but maybe fair. Falcon Blade. A lot of people love this item. I never really bought the hype, so I think this is reasonable. It's a versatile item. It's good on heroes like Weaver and such that need the mana. So I'm pretty happy with this. Gleipnir. I'm not clear on the pronunciation. This is really minor, but it needs a little bit of help, so I guess that's enough of a bump. Helm of the Overlord. Never bought it, never considered it. Reworked recipe now requires Helm of the Dominator, Vlad's, and 1,000. That's what needs to happen. Okay. Reduce stats, perfect. Who cares about the stats? Can only dominate 1 creep, fine. Most people aren't Korean microgods. Creep movement speed increased, that's great. Bonus attack damage increased massively. Armor increased. This makes it so that you don't have to get a great creep for the creep to be great. So that's nice. And it gives Vlad's. Regular Vlad Zara. Wait. Did they change it to give 18% damage again? I don't remember. Well, this is a good change either way. It's actually definitely going to be bought now, so. Hurricane Pike affects more attacks and lasts longer. Nice. The active, that is. Recipe reworked and Mage Slayer needs help. Oblivion Staff Cloak 400 gold recipe reduced massively in cost. The base stats are 20% magic resist, 20 damage, 10 intelligence, 15 attack speed, and 2 mana regen. I assume it still gives the debuff? Surely they didn't. Yeah, there's no way they removed that. Well, this is obviously a hell of a lot better, so... Nice. Radavetos, similar changes to Gleipnir. Sage, status resistance reduced, fair. Replenish time on sentry wards, reduced. And duration reduced. Okay. It's, I like this better. Sentry wards usually are just only needed for 1 D ward and then they just sit there, so this is just better overall. It is a buff to invis heroes slightly. Silver Edge, recipe reworked, now requires Shadow Blade, Crystallis, 350 recipe. They really love changing Silver Edge. 60 damage, 40 attack speed, 30% chance to 160% crit. So same crit as Crystallis. Attacks breaking out of invisibility, now deal a guaranteed 160% crit with 175 bonus damage. Ooh. That's really good. And it's True Strike on that hit as well. Yeah. I'd like to point out fucking insane on Sven, a guaranteed crit. Yeah, it's good in a lot of heroes. It's feels like more of an item. Having another crit item is nice. Smoke, increased max stock from 2 to 3. Yes. Starting stock is still 2. That's really nice. There have been a lot of times where it's there hasn't been a huge need to have them, and you can just buy them and carry them. They're cheap, but sometimes you don't want to do that. Or sometimes on lower levels, teams just won't buy them, and this just makes it so you're going to have more access to smokes. They're going to overcap in duration less. You can just buy the one, and then, yeah. It's not a huge change, but it is definitely appreciated. Wind Waker. Okay, they're trying to make people buy Wind Waker instead of just keeping Yules. That's fair. Damage per tick on Witchblade. Okay, so it's the same damage, but more duration. That's fine. Probably better. Canceling blinks for longer and such. Fixed interaction that caused Witchblade to give permanent True Strike against magic immune targets. That's really fucked up. Okay, haven't seen that one. Oh, wow. Okay, Faded Brooch, Ironwood Tree, Imp Claw, Illusion Escape, Minotaur Horn, Orb of Destruction, and Ballista. Gone. Imp Claw was always a little bit problematic. I was never a huge fan of Faded Brooch because it's misspelled. And Ironwood Tree was mostly good for tree memes. I would just place down the GG tree and say it's just a big fuck you to the enemy team. But Illusion Escape, never really cared. Minotaur Horn is insane, so honestly, good riddance. Orb of Destruction, always a little OP. And Ballista, never really got to play with it because it's tier 5. Big Pull, new one. 6 to all stats, good start. Pig Out, turns the owner into a pig for 4 seconds and grants 10%. Is that worth it? Is it worth not being able to cast anything to get 10% movement speed? Or does it not actually hex you? It's a pretty big distinction. This is such a meme. I love it. Tumblr's Toy. Oh, that's Pangalier's Squire's thingy. Horse broom thingy toy. Yes. Okay, active vault propels your unit forward 300 units. Cooldown 30. Blink cooldown 200 mana. I mean, that's actually really good. It's very useful tier 1 for sure, especially given there are going to be 5. Okay, Brigand's Blade. Tier 2. 10 damage, 10 attack speed, Dark Mercy. When attacking an enemy, deals plus 7 damage for each 10% HP the enemy is missing. That is so cool. That's good on supports even. It gives the attack speed necessary to activate it, and you just get flat damage based on HP. That's good on supports. I can see that being better on supports than others. Also, it's Ricky's blade because you can see the two, I don't even know what to call these, tines? The two parts of the blade here. That's cool. Fey Grenade, 20 movement speed. It's OP now. Active Shadow Brand. Throws a bomb to an enemy within 900 range, dealing your attack damage, and applying a debuff that provides vision of the unit and deals 20 DPS for 7 seconds. Whoa. This is a lot. 20-second cooldown, very low mana cost, to the point that I question why it's there, but that's fine. That's kind of insane. They're revealed for 7 seconds. Remember when I said invis heroes were getting buffed? Yeah, this definitely nullifies it. Sentries lasting a minute less is not enough. Especially since that ends up being more sentries over the course of a game, but this is unique. It prevents blink, it provides vision, and it does your attack damage on hit, so it breaks blink instantly instead of having to wait a second for the first tick. I don't know, this is really... It's never going to be bad. It doesn't slow, though, but there's always Glimmer Capes, there's always need of vision if they just leave line of sight. This is just really good. It's insane. Okay, Blast Rig. 8 armor. Okay. Usually like to see stats, but... Okay, passive Hair Trigger. Okay, honestly, I thought this was going to be an active item. The next time you get attacked by a hero within 300 range, explode, dealing 300 damage to all enemies within 300 radius and applying 100% blind for 2.5 seconds. That's a clockwork item. I'm just kind of processing. This is very unique as far as items in Dota go, or just effects in Dota even. I like it. It's cool. I don't know if it's amazing. 300 damage is a lot though. 300 AoE damage is a passive. If you're getting disabled, this is best on heroes that go all the way in and get disabled a lot. So, you know, Axe and such. Axe, there's slightly anti-synergy because if they're blinded, they can't successfully hit you to cause spins. But that's fine. Ascetics Cap, tier 4. Oh yeah, Buster gets tier 3, by the way. Okay, 300 health, 10 HP regen. Passive Endurance. Whenever a debuff from a player-controlled source, that's a good clause, would be applied to the owner, grant 50% status resist for 3 seconds, cooldown 30. That's really good. This makes up for the Aeon Disc nerf quite a bit. 10 HP regen is really nice to just have on an item that's worth holding anyway. It's not huge, but you're definitely not complaining unless you're in the enemy team. Honestly, it's not a big deal. The enemy team's not going to complain about 10 HP regen at the time of tier 4s. But this is just nice. It's a really nice item for anyone to carry. Ideally, someone who won't just get completely burst down. You do want to be able to gain the benefits of having status resistance. So it will have to be a semi-tanky hero. Honestly, mids, like an Invoker is... I'd say just tanky enough to carry this. Invokers aren't super squishy, relatively speaking. So yeah, this is good on Invoker just because you can escape better. I don't know. Okay, Witchbane, another tier 4. Passively causes your hero to deal extra magic damage to its target equal to 4% of its max mana on attack. Fuck OD apparently, and every other smart boy. I mean, fuck Invoker. I guess OD isn't smart anymore, but fuck Invoker. Active Dispel. Dispels all enemies and allies within 300 radius. That's insane. Walk up to this, Guardian Angel is up, boom, gone. All your allies are also affected by Battle Hunger, gone. That's really versatile. This is going to be very sought after. Much better on melee heroes due to it being within a 300 radius, but I guess it's good on, you know, anyone who wants to hit a lot, and you can use this more on your team. It does have that option. You don't have to use it offensively, so Yeah, like it. Presumably it doesn't require vision either, so you can use this to remove Glimmer Cape. Yeah. If it's a strong dispel, which is extremely unlikely, you can, it would say strong dispel, but if it were a strong dispel, you could even use it to dispel Force Staff. They would only go like 100. It would stop their forcing. Arcanist's Armor. 5 armor, 20% magic resist. Passively grants another plus 5 armor and 20% magic resistance to all allies in a 900 radius. Active Mega Shield grants a 35% damage reflection aura in a 900 radius, affecting allied units for the next 5 seconds. Cooldown 20 seconds, does not affect illusions. Damage reflection aura. This is one of the best tier 5s available. Holy fuck. Armor and magic resistance aura. There's a reason there aren't items that versatile in defense. Wow. Kind of gives slight AC vibes in the fact that it gives very similar bonuses baseline that it does in its aura, or in this case identical. Reflection aura is insane for things like Finger of Death, Black Hole. You're just going to kill them if they haven't like an AoE ulti. It's insane against Sven. This is a great anti-Sven item. You don't get much mileage out of the magic resistance increase against Sven specifically, but it's a non-zero amount, and to be fair, Sven is going to have Satanic. But you know, this is just really good. You pop this on cooldown, 20 seconds. Like someone jumps on you and they seem dangerous, pop it. It's great. Chipped Vest. HP regen reduced. Fairy Trinket bonus health reduced. That's fair. Fairy Trinket is way too good. Lifesteal on Possessed Mask reduced from 7% to a flat 7 HP per attack. That's better for sure at this point. No one does 100 damage at this the point you're going to be holding this, so that's a straight buff at the time you get it. Dig cooldown on Trusty Shovel reduced. Well, shit. Okay, we take those. Bonus damage decreased on Enchanted Quiver. Yeah, you were putting it on like anyone because it's kind of insane. Anyone is happy to carry this unless they need stats, especially much. Cooldown decreased. I mean, this isn't that much of a nerf. It's pretty nice item still. Ceremonial Robe debuff is no longer visible if enemies don't have vision of its holder. Okay. That's just a consistency fix. Nice. Flicker. Cooldown increased from 4 to 5 seconds. That's fine. Now blinks in place if the owner received damage in the last 3 seconds. Oh. It seems like a nerf, but it could be a buff in situations where you just need the strong dispel. If it is considered a nerf, it's not that much of one. I like it. I actually think this is an upgrade right here. Obviously, cooldown increase isn't. No, this is just a buff. No, what am I saying? Yes, this is just a buff. Because if you need that strong dispel and you've been hit by someone, you can just press it now. This is so much more versatile now. It feels like. You can't use it to get away as much, but a 5-second cooldown strong dispel is like Slark level shit. And that's what it gives you now in a fight. Spider legs no longer considered a boot, so they reduce the movement speed. That's a huge buff to spider legs. My god. I mean, I love that. It always felt really stupid that it was... Oh, Abaddon. It always felt really... Sorry, I always said Abaddon. It's Abaddon. No longer considered a boot. Love it. Yeah, I've always wanted to use this and not been able to. Except on IO. Stormcrafter no longer triggers if the holder is invisible to the target. You can't Ricky Cheese it anymore, but that's about it. Fallen Sky. Well, you can't just troll people in general. Cast range reduced to blink levels. Fair. Okay. Abaddon. Strength changed from 23 plus 3 per level to 22 plus 2.8 per level. Okay. Cast range on Aphotic Shield increased. Level 20 now has the Aphotic Shield health cooldown, or instead of the cooldown reduction. And -1 Curse of Avernus attacks required. That is one of the best modifiers I can imagine for good old Abaddon. Cast range on Aphotic Shield is one of the best things you can get as well. So this is overall a huge buff. You pretty frequently get to level 20 and very rarely get to level 25, so I like this. I like it a lot. Okay, Alchemist, my boy. Cooldown reduced. Great. 13's a good number as well. Mana cost rescaled. Fair. Berserk Potion now gives movement speed. Always should have. And instead of the talent at 10, there's Unstable Concoction Radius, which is much better. You kind of felt bad taking the cooldown on some builds, and you felt bad not taking it on others. And this is just a really nice, happy middle ground. Oh no! I clicked on AA. It's fine. We can get back. What a disaster. Okay. Cold Feet, cooldown increase. That's especially with the level 25 talent. That's fair. Cooldown on Ice Blast increased at earlier levels. That's fair. He has way too much map presence starting at level 6. Even in low rated games, even like it's crazy. 12 HP regen, which was always a weird talent, replaced with 150 Cold Feet break distance. Well, fuck, that nullifies the nerf. Holy shit. Nullifies it and then some. I'm not even sure you can run that far if you're even slightly slowed now. Holy shit, okay. You know, you just barely get out of it sometimes. God help us. Okay. AM gets more strength gain. He/she has been struggling quite a bit. Personally, I use the Persona, but I just think it has way better animations. Reworked Shard. Counterspell now also passively grants a 900 range offensive aura, reducing enemies' magic damage by 10%. Grants triple the effect to enemies within 300 range. Well, that's a way better shard. Like, exponentially better. Holy shit. That's it's better than a 10 or 30 respectively percent magic resistance aura, because there are diminishing returns on that, because even if you have no other magic resistance, because you have a base 25%, this is better than a 30% magic resistance, especially on AM. Yeah, you buy Shard every game. There's more than one nuker on the enemy, more than 2 nukers on the enemy team, or just, you know, dangerous nukers. There's always magic damage, and this is always worth having on a hero that farms, you know, as fast as Alchemist or faster with no gold increase. Just flat. Fragment Scepter now has 3 charges, 25-second recharge time. Huge buff to the Scepter as well. I will stress, this strength gain increase seems tiny, but it's fucking not. This is going to increase the number of times AM barely escapes by a lot. This is like a breaking point. Because if AM gets away even a little bit, they're fucking gone. Very few scenarios where that's not true. Well, this is nice. Blink cooldown used to be part of the shard, of course. Yeah, that's a really good talent, especially at 10. Holy shit, farm acceleration. Way more farm acceleration than 15 attack speed, I think. Well, it's better in the long run anyway, even with juicy 1.4 base attack time. Level 15 talent, 8 armor replaced with 0.7 second mana void stun. Fair, they used to be part of an older iteration of the Ags. And also the 20 talent, which is now Blink cast range. Great. Blink cast range is very useful for getting out of Rupture. If you travel 1250 units instantaneously, or 1250 or more units instantaneously, you don't take damage from Rupture, and this gets you past that threshold for AM, because it's a base 1050, I believe, maxed out. Queen of Pain doesn't have that issue since it's a base 1300, but it also has a longer cooldown and a longer cast point. So, yeah, that's actually a pretty substantial talent. Magnetic Field Shard slow increased. We take those. Arc Warden getting 8 armor at 15. 12% cooldown reduction. While it's good on Arc Warden due to his particular kit, it's not clear. What are you, Arc Warden? Who are you? Well, whatever Arc Warden is. Good old Zet, very attractive, obviously. Well, let's see. 8 armor, much better. That applies to the clone too. It's just value. Okay. 40 attack speed replaced with magnetic field attack speed. Can't decide if nerf or buff. It's a nerf to Arc Warden and a buff to Arc Warden's team. I'm going to say that balances out. Leaning towards buff. Arc Warden always builds a lot of attack speed, so it's fine. And you can usually destroy a building in the duration of one magnetic field with both of you there, so yeah. 100 attack range replaced with flux plus 40 damage per second. That's really good. Okay, Reworked Shard again. Now causes counter helix to apply a 6-second stacking debuff that reduces attack damage by 20% and increases counter helix chance by 10%. Well, it all comes full circle. They've gone from wanting Axe to attack to proc counter helix all the time to saying, fuck Axe attacking, counter helix on every hit. It does still have a cooldown. But does it really? Does this just stack infinitely because he's going to do no attack damage? Is it only base attack damage? Does it reduce attack damage taken? Probably not. That would be fucking broken. So this is a meme, but it's also good, is the consensus for me. 12% magic resistance, we fucking take those. Axe needs it. Especially more than 9 strength. 300 health replaced with plus 30 counter helix damage. Okay, so them removing 300 health talent hurts a lot, and it's making me think that this might be reducing attack damage taken. I'm dumb. It said debuff. Disappointment in myself. Yeah, it's a debuff, so it applies to enemies. It reduces their attack damage dealt and increases your counter helix chance from their attacks on you. There we go. Some of you were screaming at me as that was happening. I just read it wrong. That makes a lot more sense. That's a huge survivability increase, and we got that nice magic resistance, which is worse than 300 health, but 30 counter helix damage when you're going to be counter helixing that much is insane. This is also going to apply against all creeps, so this is just a ridiculously nice buff. I wanted to believe in the meme, which is I think what part of why I read that the way I did, but yeah, this is really, really strong. Big fan. Let's move on. Bane. Mana cost on Brain Sap reduced back to normal levels, and cast range increased. Nice. Now deals pure damage per second to enemy nightmare targets, not allied ones. That's nice. Can't deny allies anymore, but like you used to be able to, but that's really good. Pure damage per second, we take those. You're often nightmared for a really fucking long time, so. Fiend's Grip cast point reduced. Yeah, this is, there have been many times where I've clicked fast enough to actually get someone, but it just didn't trigger quickly enough. It's like Chaos Knight levels of frustration with cast points. It's, this is a big buff. All of this is. We take those. Bane has been struggling a little. Napalm buffed because holy shit, they buffed the living, unholy, yeah, everything out of it, and then nerfed it and didn't increase the levels back, so yeah. Thank you. Reduced, buffed the damage because you can have it at level 1 viably, more so. Cooldown increased. Yeah, okay, this is fine. Not a huge deal. Beastmaster, Aghanim's Shard, Call of the Wild Hawk, can now be unit targeted, which will cause the hawk to move in the direction of the target and cast dive when and if. Dive, when, and if. In range. Yeah, that's a big buff on, not having to micro as much, which is nice on Beastmaster, so. That's about all I have to say on that. Oh, even more of a buff considering it has that much more vision. Early, level 1. Nice, you can actually max out axes, it feels like, with this effect. Unit target, that's so good. This is actually, I mean, it follows them in the, it doesn't follow them in the fog, but it moves in the direction of the target and casts dive on only them if they're in range. So it has a pretty good range too, so I'm pretty happy with this. Bloodsuka now heals half the amount on denies. Great. That's really nice. But the health threshold that you see enemies at is increased. Wait. I'm so dumb right now. I'm really tired. What's health threshold increased? Yeah, that's a buff, right? Yeah, you see them at 80% instead of 75. Nice. That's great. We take those. 7 armor replaced by Blood Rage Spell Amp. That's huge. What? Okay, they really like Bloodseeker buffing allies. Also self. Lifesteal replaced by 10% HP Rupture initial damage. Great. That's, wow, another 10% of their maximum. Well, current HP. That's great. Bounty. Cool. Okay, sure, can cost cooldown reduced by 3 seconds. Damage reduced. Oh, damage reduced down to not stupid levels. Okay. Mana cost reduced massively. Cast range increased by a lot. Scepter no longer reduces cooldown. Scepter cast range increased by quite a bit. This is a buff because you feel like you can actually use it because he has mana problems. Bounty Hunter, they have mana problems. Yeah, this is an overall huge buff, I think. You feel like you can use it more. You actually can use it more. It still does 80 damage level 1, which is reasonable damage for a level 1 skill. Track now causes Shuriken Toss to do a multiplier. I didn't even see this. Now causes to do a multiplier of damage, just flat. Well, that's a massive buff overall. Shuriken Toss is more usable in general. It has more cast range to activate track bouncing. And it also now does the old levels of damage, at least when maxed out. In addition to the cooldown reduction. That's a huge buff to Shuriken Toss gameplay with Bounty. Big fan. Janata can now be toggled to disable autocast. That's really nice quality of life. I love it. Shit. Okay. 20 movement speed replaced with 2-second Shadow Walk slow. That's a lot of slow. How long does the slow last already? Wow, 6 seconds of 40% slow. That is unholy. Okay. 275 health, very rarely taken, replaced with 50% track bonus move speed to allies. Oh my god, they're doing my dream, which is replacing all of the generic talents with hero toolkit centric talents. That is so good. 50% track bonus movement speed to allies. That's fucking ridiculous. Do allies now get more track bonus speed than he does? Surely not. Surely that's not the interaction. 50 attack speed, rarely taken. Replaced with track grants ground vision around the target. Oh wow, back to the old days. I guess it's a lot as well because they didn't even specify a radius. Didn't want him to feel left out compared to Slardar. Okay, level 25 talent. 40% evasion replaced with 2 Shuriken Toss charges. That is so huge. Bounty Hunter just got buffed, like, exponentially. Literally exponential power and interesting gameplay-ness. I don't know. I love it. I'm loving this update so far. I know I've said it multiple times, but this is great. Okay, Brewmaster. buffing the Void Brewing. Massively. Reduce the damage by not that much, and reduce the base attack time from 1.35, slightly better than Anti-Mage, to 0.8, slightly better than a Necrobook melee creep. So, yeah, that's a big buff in DPS. Void Brewing now inherits Brewmaster's attack modifiers. What? This just completely changed Brewmaster's build. You can bash with a 0.8 base attack time. Wow. I mean, you can build Maelstrom and not feel bad about it. If you go for the Void Brewing. I mean, you're going to now. Holy shit, this is so much better. It's actually worth having, not just for an active effect. You really need to stop clicking on that. Yeah, this is really nice. Passive dodge chance increased by 5% at all levels. You can leave it at level 1 and not feel awful. Great. I mean, this is a really good patch so far. I mean, it makes me want to play more. I haven't been playing a lot lately, but I keep up with the info. This is a big buff, like, to say the least. Okay. Nasal Goo base slow reduced. Scepter radius reduced. Scepter max stacks reduced. I used to buy the Nasal Goo Scepter when it first came out, when everyone was memeing on it, and fucking stomped with it at, in reasonably hard games. I don't know. I was always hyped about it, and people just, it took buffing it for people to see its value, but it was almost as good as it is now the whole time. So, I don't know. It's fair that they're nerfing it, now that it's popular. It's in a lot of games. Stack duration. Quality of life. Nice. More attack damage overall, over the course of the game. Okay, Spin Web now grants Brewmother and her Spiderlings movement speed based on the health of the unit. Okay, how does that work? Grants the full amount at 100% health and 0% at 20% or less. That's an interesting interaction. Injecting some realism into Dota, that's crazy. Spawn Spiderlings, mana cost increased from 100 to 120. That's fair. And reduce the damage. Nice. Scepter, Spinner's Snare. It is a vector-targeted ability. It creates 900 width invisible web line that takes 2 seconds to form. That's a long fucking time. Enemy heroes that cross the web line will make it visible and become rooted after 0.25 seconds of 100% slow. They will also be visible in fog and receive 100 DPS for 4 seconds. Broodmother's team is notified in the minimap whenever someone trips in a web line. Multiple heroes can trip on the same line until the duration expires, but illusions don't trigger it. Wow. That's crazy. Maximum of 5 snares can be active, and snares can't be cast overlapping another. That's fair. We have them right next to each other, though. 2 charges. Mana cost 100. Cooldown 20. Cast range 600. That is the best gimmick I've ever seen in my life in a video game. That's not true, but in Dota, this is really cool. I'm going to play Broodmother offlane more now. That's so cool. That's the coolest fucking gimmick. I mean, she doesn't use as much mana as she used to. I mean, of course, that's changing a little. Wow. Illusions don't trigger it. You can just fucking trap people. You get notified on the minimap. You just jump on them. That's so fucking cool. I mean, I always thought that webbing things should be like fantasy spiders do. Should have been much more of a thing, and now it fucking is. You just, it's tripping instead of completely webbing them, but they, she has a web ability. Okay, level 20 talent, plus 15 flat spider attack damage replaced with plus 50% spiders damage to buildings. Is that a buff? It seems like a buff, but I don't actually know how much damage individual spiders do. I'm gonna say that's a massive buff, most likely. I mean, why not make Broodmother better at pushing? That's a reasonable thing to do. What the fuck? Okay, great. Spinner Snare though, great design. Great design. And I like this decision too. It's cool. Hoof Stomp lasts less time. Buff the strength multiplier when running over things, and it slows for longer. Stampede. Okay. Overall nerf, because this is he's a one-button hero. That's fine though, because he's not actually a one-button hero. I'm just kind of upset that they nerfed my boy's stompiness. Stompness. Well, that's fine. It's not a big deal. CK. Strength gain reduced by 0.2. Cooldown on Reality Rift increased at the lower levels. Lifesteal on it decreased. Max critical damage increased. Okay. So this is a typo. Yeah. So they did increase the cooldown of Reality Rift, and they just didn't separate it from Chaos Strike, which has reduced lifesteal and increased maximum critical damage. Cool. Phantasm. Fixed strong illusion buff on Phantasm being dispellable. That's funny. Okay. I like that. Okay, 20 movement speed replaced with 200. Oh my god, they're doing the thing that I've wanted them to do forever. They're replacing a lot of talents with things that are actually tied to the hero. 200 Reality Rift target pull distance. Fair. Nice. All stats replaced with 20% Chaos Strike lifesteal. Ah, I see. I see why they did it. 35% cleave, which was always janky as fuck. 3-second Chaos Bolt cooldown. That's fine. Pretty boring for, you know, this part, but overall fairly boring changes, but that's fair. It's a pretty interesting hero. This is the biggest change by far. Unless this was abused a lot, in which case that would be bigger. Okay. Divine Favor no longer provides heal amp. That's fair. Now provides armor. That's a huge buff. Okay. Armor is a lot harder to come by than health. Okay, cool. That's a huge Chen buff. He hasn't really been in the meta, so that's completely fair. Holy Persuasion. Reworked Shard allows Holy Persuasion to target 1, 2, 3 ancient creeps based on Hand of God level. Cool. It's Ags. It's old Scepter, yeah. Fair. Reworked Scepter. Hand of God now applies a strong dispel. Oh. Thank you for not making Chen focused on healing, because he's good at healing, but healing is inefficient in Dota unless you're Oracle or Io. So, wow. That's a shit ton of buffs to our boy Oracle. Not Oracle. I would love Oracle buffs, but this is Chen. Giving armor is way better than heal amp. This is a massive buff. Old Ags being the shard now is not okay. And the Ags is more utility instead of more healing. A fucking strong dispel. And I believe this lad gets cooldown reduction on Hand of God as a talent, correct? Am I blind? I'm probably blind. I think that's a thing. I can't confirm. Yeah, that's really strong regardless of the cooldown. You just, they use RP, you press Hand of God, and it's fucking gone. This can get your entire team out of a ton of shitty situations, and you give them armor now, which is way better for keeping your creeps alive. It's way better for buffing your team. An armor buff from a hero on your whole team hasn't been seen since old, like, ice armor for Lich. This is crazy good. And I hope this doesn't get slept on. I'm not a great Chen, but this makes me want to try. That's a really big buff that I think will get slept on. Strafe removed. Again. Burning Barrage. Strafe is boring. I'm fine with this. Same icon. Fair. Burning Barrage channels for 1.5, 1.9, 2.3, 2.7 seconds. Shooting some arrows in the target direction up to X distance away that all hit enemy units, dealing 60% attack damage and applying attack modifiers. This feels a lot like Drow. Well, instead of it being base damage, it's full attack damage. The arrows are super wide. But it's not... So you just shoot one big arrow after another, doing good amount of damage, applying attack modifiers so you still do Deso stuff. This does encourage Deso over stuff like Medallion. Massively. Especially since it's a base ability. And Searing Arrows presumably applies because it is an attack modifier. Attack modifiers might not mean orb effects, but it probably does. Okay. Cooldown, pretty short. Mana cost, very low. And they reduce the mana cost of Searing Arrows. More of a caster now. Doesn't really have that attack speed in his life. At least not... Yeah, doesn't have that attack speed in his life, but he does have a cool new ability, and I think this is better design, because unlike Drow, it does hit all units. It doesn't stop traveling. Okay, no longer can cast spells without breaking invis. That's fair. Can be Death Pact can be cast without breaking invis. That's a better change. It was useful for Strafe to be able to use it before. You wouldn't lose much time, if any, so... Yeah, this is a much better design for Clinks. Strafe was always super fucking boring. Clinks is much more vulnerable to ranged heroes now. But to be fair, MKB mitigated that mostly. Yeah, I think this is a massive buff. I'm going to be playing Clinks. I'm a big fan of this. 12% magic resistance. Skeleton Walk cooldown. That's fine. Much more of a caster because you want to be spamming Skeleton Walk. This is annoying, but it's completely fair. Yeah, you want to be casting more of your abilities. We're back to standard Searing Arrows cost back in the day. You want to build Deso and Scotty and possibly even Mage Breaker. Yeah, this feels much, much better. You can also lifesteal off of all of these, by the way. You can get lifesteal on Clinks and get Monkey King levels of healing from AoE hitting. And Strafe cooldown, which of course doesn't exist, with +2 Burning Barrage arrows. 8 arrows at that time. That's really good. Okay, Clockwork. Overclocking gives less movement speed, that's fine. More mana burn on Clockwork. I hate life. Great. Fucking bullshit. I hate it. Fuck. Damn it. Bastards. Okay. 5 armor. Really boring. Rocket Flare cooldown. Much more interesting. For getting vision and such. And also nuking shit. Power Cog's mana burn will probably be taken more often. And I hate it. Thanks. I hate it. Valve. Valve, if you're listening. Why? Why? Buff my girl CM. Base attack speed, reduced. That's fine. Mana cost, reduced. But early levels. This is a big buff to CM. No one does the attacking CM meme, but they still haven't removed the attack speed taunt. Explosion distribution is now more even across its radius. It's not true RNG. Thank you, Gabe. You made up for Clockwork changes. Thank you. I know you did this personally, Gabe. You're looking very nice tonight. Thank you. Shard now also increases total explosions by 20%, so it can even more so be the most damaging ability in the game that is now also more consistent. God help us. Surge. Fixed self-cast behavior not working with AoE surge talent. That's nice quality of life. It's just centered on you. Duration reduced by 15 seconds. Okay. Normal punch. Now is True Strike. Illusion lasts longer and it does more max damage if you run a lot. Okay. Iron Shell Radius replaced with 20% Wall of Replica illusion damage. Iron Shell Radius is now level 15. Iron Shell damage is reduced. Wall of Replica cooldown talent was buffed slightly. I guess Wall of Replica does last a stupid amount of time. And hopefully normal punch is more usable now, given the illusion lasts so long. Still seems kind of a meme, but these are actually pretty substantial buffs. So, Dark Willow, stun duration is no longer as cancerous. Cursed Crown duration nerfed here as well, and Shadow Realm duration much better than 50 damage. Love it. Okay, Dawnbreaker, lots of changes. Starbreaker, you can no longer use it to get through kinetic field. That's fair. No longer gets cancelled if Starbreaker gets rooted. Instead, just movement is interrupted. That's huge buff. Added Aghanim's Shard. You get magic immunity during Starbreaker. That is okay. Gaben giveth, Gaben taketh away. Except in reverse. He took away going through kinetic field and then gave it back. Cool. That's a gigantic buff because I think that also means you won't get stunned at the end. So your movement won't be interrupted. Yeah, that's nice. Solar Guardian, just the ult, gets an Ags, reduces Solar Guardian channeling time to 1 second. That's not very long. Okay. Solar Guardian can be cast again upon takeoff to land early. That's a big buff. You land like instantly, okay. Solar Guardian now gives allies in the area 60% more evasion while you are airborne, increases heal per pulse by quite a bit, and total airborne fly time by a bit. Okay, so you're airborne for longer, but you don't channel for as long. Okay. Just being able to get places way faster, this is worth buying. She kind of has a weird situation where she doesn't have a huge number of items to buy, it feels like, and, you know, you mostly just buy lots of damage for more healing, so I think this is cool. It's not crazy good, though. Wait, are all of her talents now based on her abilities? I'm very happy right now. Celestial Hammer slow. Celestial Hammer's a little weird, so I'm glad it has a little talent here. I really like increased slow talents. Plus 30 Starbreaker swipe damage. Flat? I guess that works well with the crit. Luminosity crit damage, speaking of. Big buff for the healing output. And earlier. -1 Luminosity attacks required. Wow, that's a much better talent. 2 Starbreaker charges replaced with a lot more Solar Guardian radius, more synergy with the Ags build. And earlier, that is. And this is now Starbreaker charges. Because having that much magic immunity would be pretty cancerous. Dawnbreaker is a lot stronger now. Shards are really good, so this is pretty scary. Not totally sure how I feel about it, but I do know it's good design. What are you doing to Dazzle? How could you do this? Base agility reduced, fine. Now only refreshes poison touches duration when Dazzle attacks the target. Okay. Base slow increased by 2%. Now increases its slow. Oh. I see. So more incentive for Dazzle to attack people. Great. That's a lot of slow, potentially. I like it because Dazzle's attack has always looked like poison, so it kind of makes little sense. I like it. it's pretty cool. Certainly not complaining. We take those. We definitely take those. That's a lot of slow. It could be a shit ton of slow if you build around it, but it's probably a lot even if you don't. It's more slow in general and a lot more slow in your attack. You could easily get that to 40%. No, it refreshes its duration. You can get it to 100%. You just get fucking run down. That's cancer. It even works at level 1. Yeah, that's a lot. It was always a pretty piddly slow, so this is a lot better. Mana cost and Shallow Grave rescaled, and by rescaled they mean reduced. That's a massive reduction. Holy shit. Level 15 talent. 400 health, boys. Why? It's a lot of HP. Well, Dazzle is no longer squishy. Okay. I mean, relatively speaking. And they moved the heal here instead of movement speed. I feel like this should be reversed. 20 strength at level 15 is not okay, and this is still a fairly mediocre talent, I feel like. I mean, this does make you less likely to die to Culling Blade, but not by that much. Especially now that Max is going to be proccing Culling Blade that much, and it's going to be so much tankier against attacks. But alright. Notably, Counter Helix doesn't just reduce damage against you, it reduces their attack damage flat, I believe akin to Dragon's Breath's reduction, not being the base attack damage, all attack damage, and it stacks, I think, probably only up to like 3 times, which is still insane, and it increases Counter Helix chance against just you, so that's really fucking strong. Okay. Base Strength of Profit increased by 2. That matters. Silence now fires a 1000 speed projectile toward the targeted area and silences units in the AoE upon impact, and the cast point is reduced. Why? Is she that good? It doesn't feel that good. I mean, it's cooler looking now, probably, but seems a little unnecessary. To be fair, silence is actually going to be going off even faster when you're right next to someone, because of that 1000 speed. So, this is not a big change. There might be some weird interactions you could do. Cooldown increased on Exorcism, more of a round number, higher proof. 6% movement speed replaced with Crypt Swarm cooldown, I like it. Max health Spirit Siphon increased, yeah, nice. Crypt Swarm cooldown replaced with 20% Spirit Siphon. Slow. Okay. Well, it's obviously a pretty crazy talent. You can't actually escape from her anymore. We should all be very afraid. I mean, I like Prophet. She's cool. Why? Why'd you have to make this ability easier to land? Alright, whatever. Slow per strike duration increases with level. Wow, it's 100% slow. 0.4 second, 100% slow. Okay, Disruptor's like literally getting 3% win rate at least off of this change alone. What the fuck? That's so much slow. And you're always going to land kinetic field now. There's no fucking chance you can fail with that short of a formation time. I like it. Disruptor deserves it. He's a good boy. Doom is dumber. Okay. He also gets less money. The cooldown of Scorched Earth is now constantly the lowest level it was before. Does more damage and lasts less time, which is fair. It accounts for the cooldown not scaling. That's fine. It was a stupidly long cooldown, so it's totally fair. Burn base damage massively increased. That's nice. Nice for low HP targets. It's nice for everyone, but especially low HP targets. And Scorched Earth cooldown talent nerfed. That's fine. You don't actually have to max it out now, but you're still going to, because holy fuck, that's a lot of damage. It's just better in lane for chasing fuckers down. This is overall a buff. Pretty substantially, I'd say. Doesn't really have mana problems that much. Infernal Blade is a crazy ability, more so now, and yeah. I like it. Dragon Knight, become more interesting, please. You're so interesting in the show. Why can't you be more interesting in the game? Stun duration reduced. Fine. Health regen reduced. Elder Dragon form. Black Elder Dragon splash damage reduced. Black Elder Dragon. Magic resistance reduced. Fireball DPS reduced. Damage debuff lingers for 2 seconds. That's a buff. Yeah, Dragon Knight's really tanky. In all seriousness, Dragon Knight is really, really tanky, hard to deal with, heals a shit ton, and dealing more than 100% splash is not really okay. This is very reasonable. It's kind of memeing a bit, but yeah. Reasonably strong hero, stronger for Fireball being buffed, and I don't know, Dragon Tail's not changed that much. These are not really that significant of changes. The magic resistance hurts, of course, but it's not a deal breaker. Drow, bonus damage reduced. Thank you. Scepter, split arrows no longer consume mana. Thank you. That's probably the best buff they could have given her without crazy numeric changes. You use 1 frost arrow and you use like 60 mana with the axe. This is actually a massive buff. I've always loved ags, but you can literally just leave it on now. Not even think about it. It's really good. Frost arrow bonus damage, fine. Gust width. Oh, why? Why'd you have to buff the best ability in Dota? Okay. I know she needs it, but it still doesn't make it less painful. Cooldown reduction replaced with 2 multi-shot waves. Much better. I've always been annoyed by the fact that you technically need to cancel multi-shot a little early, so you're not wasting like 0.2, 0.3 seconds after the last wave, but there's still a channel there, and people end up wasting time doing that, and I just wish that wasn't a thing, and this might help that math. It might remove that problem when you get this talent, but I think it should be removed in general. It doesn't deserve to be a skill check, like Blink Dagger not blinking as far if you don't click it right, which is really stupid as well, but it's a relic, that feature, but it's fine. Earth Spirit has more of his core kit, thank you. Magnetize lasts longer. Holy shit, okay, that's pretty good. 8 armor, which is really fucking generic, replaced with Boulder Smash push distance. These are really nice changes, and every Earth Spirit player will be happy. I'm hoping to become one of those in the future. Earthshaker is faster and much smarter. That's nice. Earthshaker has mana problems, so certainly can't hurt to have more movement speed on an initiation hero either. 30 base damage. Yeah, 20 was pretty sad. 200 mana replaced with 80 fissure damage. Okay, the mana issues weren't fixed by that much, but I guess that's okay. 80 fissure damage is pretty nice. 50 aftershock damage? Okay, that's crazy. 40% magic resistance replaced with 200 aftershock radius. See, look how much more interesting heroes are when all of their talents are tailored to their abilities. This is technically tailored to your abilities because of the totem. I love that totem gets attack range now, by the way. That's just so cool. It's always been a little weird that he was like smacking things with the side of the totem before, but yeah, this is nice. Echo Stomp. Damage reduced. That's fine. It does that damage twice. That's completely reasonable. Astral Spirit lasts longer. More buff time. That's overall a pretty huge buff, considering how much of his kit is based around Astral Spirit now. Ember Spirit, please buff. Yes, they did the change I've wanted for years. Okay. Valve, hire me, please. Please hire me. Hire me to be on your bounce team. Please hire me, please. I need to be hired. Please hire my for your team. Thank you. Love you. Bye. Flame Guard, absorb amount increased, at level 1. This has needed to happen for a long time. It's so sad to get targeted with like 1.5 abilities and Flame Guard just fucking goes away at level 1. It is the saddest thing ever to watch, and this won't happen nearly as much now. This change could have been made years ago. If you hired me, please hire me. Please, God, hire me. I fucking love this shit. Hire me. Okay, Fire Remnant. I can accept your maximum travel distance reduced. That's fair. Steering change targets, more likely to hit the right ones. That's actually really good. You can hit like, what, 4 people now? That's really good. That matters a lot more than it seems. It certainly matters more than 8% spell amp, like by many orders of magnitude. Enchant has much lower range, which is fair because Enchantress is Cancer, and yeah, no. These are really minor changes, but they add up. We definitely take more damage on non-impetus hits, which are few and far between, but, you know. Midnight Pulse, multiple instances, no longer stack. Please rework the Scepter. Scepter now deals 5% bonus pure damage instead of the current level of Midnight Pulse. Okay. So, it's a nerf if you buy... No, it's just a nerf. No, it's a buff. Sorry. It does bonus pure damage. Midnight Pulse is magical. I always forget that they changed that. Scepter now deals 5% bonus pure damage instead of it being based on Midnight Pulse. Midnight Pulse is fairly nerfed, especially for Refresher, doing the double Midnight Pulse, getting that triple or quadruple, well, you know, triple Midnight Pulse out there. It's really strong. So it's a pretty big buff to Black Hole itself. Pure damage being infinitely better. But yeah, this is completely fair. It might even be more of a buff than I realize, but I don't think so. Eidolon attack speed, they have a really low base attack time. That's a much bigger deal than 135 HP, which is a good talent idea. Just didn't pan out in the player base. I took it quite a bit. It's pretty strong. Especially since they replace themselves in each other. It is strong, it's just this is markedly stronger. 8% cooldown reduction while strong on Enigma was pretty sad of a number, so Malefice damage per instance, I like that they're buffing Malefice. Malefice has always been a cool ability, annoying as shit to play against, but I love it, and him not being based around a Necronomicon build just feels a lot better, obviously. Yeah. Chrono. Cooldown reduced. Valve. Faceless Void. 6-slotted. Can 1v1 any hero, please. Have mercy on us. Have mercy on us, please. Honestly, this isn't that big of a deal. I do prefer when when ultimates cooldown scale down with level. So this does feel cleaner, and it's honestly fair. It's not that big of a deal. Chrono hasn't had that much impact. These days, it's mostly Void himself being just a god. And, you know, if you do it right, you can definitely lock him down long enough. Interesting talents, go. 7 agility replaced with +6 time dilation damage per second. That is per ability, so that's really cool. Even more, your blink is even more cancelled. But no, in all seriousness, this is actually a significant amount of damage. It will add up quite a bit. Time walk, backtracked time. That is a really cool multiplier or modifier. Wow. 9 strength. These were just really boring talents. The 7 agility, 9 strength, level 10 talent row has been repeated across many different heroes. And this is really interesting. Thank you, Valve. This is nice. You guys do a good job. I just want to be on your team, that's all. I could help. I would like that. Please. Please. Level 15 talent. Plus 300 health replaced with minus 1.5 second time out cooldown. That's fair. That's cool. Okay. I need to stop reading ahead. 7% time dilation slow per cooldown. Time dilation is getting to be a pretty fucking scary ability. There's a certain point where you buff modifiers you don't usually buff on heroes, and a hero becomes broken. The ability becomes broken. This is one of those instances. Thank you for making the chrono sphere, the time-based sphere, increase attack speed, which is flavorful and powerful, and I love it. This being at level 15 is a pretty big deal, and honestly, this is a toss-up for me. Both of these tiers. 120 attack speed in Chronosphere, though? No question, I'm taking that shit every time. Over 70 time luck damage. Honestly. Not because it's, like, much stronger, but because I've wanted this for years. Time lock doing damage, more damage in Chrono was cool back in the day, but since they reworked it, time lock doing more flat damage is just not as much of a priority as just getting in more attacks. But honestly, this is the stronger talent. I just love this. It results in way more kills in Chrono than this will, but this will result in more kills overall, arguably. Obviously, this is going to do more out of Chrono. I don't know. I'm going to take this talent, though. This is a very... Oh, actually, no. No, you take time lock damage. You take time lock damage for the Mjolnir build. You take attack speed for the Battle Fury build. That's what it is. But yeah, these are really well designed. I love what they're doing. I've been suggesting this or talking about it for years. This is really just talents being based on the hero's abilities. I love that they're finally doing it. This is fantastic. I love the design team. Stroke of Fate, damage increment per hit increased a lot. This is a lot more damage, and you're even more incentivized to hit creep waves with heroes with it. Inkswell duration increased. That's a huge buff. It's a lot of movement speed. Agility gain reduced. Intelligence gain increased. Caster Gyro incoming. Homing missile. Reworked Shard. Homing missile now constantly fires a rocket barrage. What? It's the Jericho. This homing missile is the Jericho from Iron Man. I love it. Starting 1 second after casting, prioritizes the homing missile. The rocket barrage now prioritizes the homing missile's target. Oh my god. You used to run away from homing missile and try to have your allies shoot it, but now you actually want to run into it so you don't fucking die from homing missile. Oh my god. Or sorry, from rocket barrage. That is the coolest shard I've ever seen. This is the coolest shard. Oh, in design, oh, I love the Valve design team so fucking much. The balance team, you guys are fucking great. No, I'd love to be a part of it. Sire me. I'm gonna stop. Range on flat cannon, cringe. Range on flat cannon increased. Reduced. I don't know what I'm doing. Reduced. Yeah, I like it. It's nice. Fuck flat cannon. It kills me. It's annoying. I like being more caster focused. Disincentivizing stuff like this. Buffing call down. Yeah, I mean this just feels nice. Adding the flat cannon range as buffing flat cannon with talents allows you to build around caster or attacking respectively. You get more options. It feels better overall. Flat cannon cooldown. That's really good for a 25 talent. That's reasonable. Airstrike causes cooldown to be vector targeted and fires 3 cooldown attack. Oh my god, it's an airstrike. It's actually a fucking airstrike. You're carpet bombing the place. Airstrike. That's nice. Does it replace cooldown with airstrike, or does it just... Yeah, I guess it is. Secondary cooldowns deal 50% damage. That's fair. I really like that. That's cool. It's cool as shit. Okay, I did it again. Oh, it didn't fuck me over this time. Hoodwink, movement speed reduced. Fair. Okay, bushwhack damage is now dealt over time in a 0.3 second interval for the duration of the buff. Damage stops if hero is released. That's a significant nerf, and I think that's very reasonable because, first of all, this ability did way too much damage on release, and they buffed it. And to be fair, it's most of her kit. But it being based on interval just makes more sense because you're being squeezed by the bola. So it makes sense that it would be like, oh, you're taking damage as you're being squeezed, your circulation's getting cut off, and so on. So, yeah, I like that better. Decoy now throws a lesser bushwhack towards the unit that attacked the illusion and spawns a tree in its location. That's super cool. It straight up just bushwhacks them. It doesn't just throw a bushwhack at them and hope there's a tree. It puts a tree down. That's fucking Chad decoy. It's actually super cool because they know even less that it's a decoy. They attack it and then they get like the illusion just turns around and bushwhacks it. Nah, it's a lesser bushwhack, so it, they know, but it's still cool. Cooldown reduced on spawning the decoy and the stun duration increased. Cool. Hunter's boomerang can now be ground targeted. That's cool. It's really cool. I like the I really like the boomerang. It's a really unique. Reducing status resistance is something that doesn't come up a lot, and you can use it pretty often. I really like the ability, and the fact that it's now ground targetable just increases its versatility. You can cast it into the fucking fog. It's cancer, and it'll be great. Acorn Shot bounces more than reverts one of the nerfs, and scary duration is crazy. So Hoodwink was fairly OP on release, not crazy, but this makes her much more interesting. She has a very varied kit in what she does that still manages to synergize well, and I don't know. I really like the hero. Don't get to play her much though. I like the design. The choice to make it a fox, I mean, it could be better, but it's not a big deal. Huskar getting movement speed feels really good. Shard no longer reduces healing by 50%. Sag. Shard now heals Huskar for 50% of damage dealt to heroes and 10% of damage dealt to creeps. Well, that's way fucking better considering you do percent damage to your max health damage to yourself on every attack. Yeah, healing, especially from other sources other than attacking, is big. Especially now that Inner Fire doesn't stop you from moving. Inner Fire duration, it's a long fucking disarm. Life break slow duration and life break damage. Oh my god, wait, they did life break damage. Is Huskar Pugna one shot back? Decrepify. Because you used to have to get Ags on Huskar to make it higher damage, but I think at level 25, if they have standard magic resist, you can do the Huskar Pugna one shot again, which is the fucking best. Love Invoker changes. He's even slower. Fine. Lift duration is higher at level 1, much lower later. That makes me feel better. Thank you. Main damage is just a little lower overall on Chaos Meteor. Obviously, it's a little higher at the highest level possible, but going to be at lower levels for longer. So, burn damage rescaled similarly. So that's fair. Chaos Meteor was a little strong early, slightly too strong. Same with Deafening Blast. The damage was never crazy, but you felt it, and now you fucking don't. 20 is not a number that matters. Not on a spell that has this long of a cooldown. Knockback reduced. Yeah, fuck that. That's great. I like it. It's now 2/3 of Gust. If Gust didn't silence, it's great. No, it disarms. I know, but I fucking hate Gust. I like 60 DPS Ice Wall, bastards. I like Ice Wall being able to cancel Blink and shit. It still does DPS, but I don't know. It cancels blink anyway. I just really like the DPS. Forged Spirit armor reduction is a better talent, admittedly. Especially at 15, because this is way too weak for level 25. 2.5x Quas Wex Exort passive bonuses. Oh, Jesus. 1 orb each, and you're a god. That's funny. Wow. You can really do right-click Invoker. Holy fucking shit. Pardon my French. 250% on the, like, 150 damage you got from Exort. Techies who? Yeah, no, that's a lot of life regen too. I love that design. It's really unconventional. I like how the development team... Okay, I'm going to stop sucking up to the development team. You guys are great. I want to be part of you. I want to be part of the development team. The balance team. But yeah, I really like this design. That's fucking cool. Super simple, but I just love it. It's a nice change. Really cool talent. Nice. Heal amp increased, thank you. It was a little too low at level 1. And you know, we take it at the later levels too. It's cool. And tether distance. Yeah, nice. We take Iobus. That's cool. Dual breath. Cast point improved. Nice. The second breath is much less likely to miss now. Burn damage on liquid fire getting buffed because it was getting completely eclipsed by the shard. Cooldown on macropyre increased. Oh, you can't drop the mixtape as often. That's sad. Blade Fury does more damage. Healing Word is slower. Blade Fury radius instead of movement speed. That's way cooler talent. Same principles. Great job. Love it. Keeper of the Light. Base armor increased by 1. Okay, that's definitely great. Channel time rescaled. It's just 3 seconds always. Wow. See, I haven't played Coddle. Coddle used to be the hero I'd play every single game, and then they changed it ages ago so that siege creeps were no longer magic immune. You used to be, or they weren't immune to magic damage, and then they just gave them magic resistance, and that removed the functionality that Illuminate would do full damage to Cardies, so you would be able to clear creep waves way better back in the day. But they've done so many changes. I didn't even play Coddle in the entire time between then and now once. And the fact that Illuminate takes a flat 3 seconds to channel and it used to take 5 is crazy. And Chakra Magic keeps getting cooldown reduction. I don't know. This is great. I'm going to play Coddle again. It's been a really long time. I used to be a really good Coddle. Like, I would fucking love that hero. No creeps would ever push my fucking base. It's fucking great. But yeah, no. This is cool. Being slightly better at trades in lane. Illuminates always 3 seconds. Yeah, I was impressed when they reduced it from 5 to 4.1, much less 3, so it's fucking great. Maybe too good. Ghost Chip Fleet Interval increased from... That's fine. Less overlap on stuns. Torrent movement speed slow is worse at level 1, that's fair. It was flat 35% slow at level 1 is a little too fucking much. Cleave percentage on Tidebringer reduced, but bonus damage increased. This is pretty much a wash. We take those. That's fine. Better on this first target, for sure. Fixed level 25 talent. AoE not working correctly with self-cast on press the attack for Legion. Cool. Dual cast range at level 10. That's a really fucking... I love you, dev team. Let me into your fucking ranks. 200 dual cast range is... Yeah. That's, if you've ever gotten Aether Lens on Legion Commander, it feels really good, so this feels really good. Big fan. Pretty cool. I'm definitely going to take it sometimes. Overwhelming odds radius is generally better, but there are games where you would prefer either. So, The fact you get all of these interesting talents at level 30, or it's starting at level 26 respectively, but like it's really cool. 40 press the attack HP regen. Nice. Especially with it being AoE. Cool. I like there being feat trees, as they say. Think of these as like 3.5 D&D feats. The trees, or Pathfinder 2nd edition if you're more cultured. I'm just talking shit. Yeah, no. I like it that there's stuff that works well together like this. Diabolic Edict does pure damage. No longer deals bonus damage to towers. Damage per explosion massively reduced. Not that much at level 1 though. This is a big level 1 buff. It does pure damage to towers. This does way more damage to towers than it did before. Holy shit. You can't even play around Diabolic Edict. That's so fucking good. This is great design. I love it. I've said it so many times, but it's true. Core armor is boring and not applicable to the hero. 1.75 mana regen, however, is great. 30% magic resistance replaced with lightning storm can bounce twice on units, only after there's no more jumps left. Cool. So if there are no more targets, it can bounce and hit a target twice, or even more. Only twice. It can't bounce like 5 times, but that's cool. It's definitely going to... What's the other 25 talent for Lesh? Are talents even here? Talents don't feel like they're here. I'm not feeling the talent vibes on this. I don't know how strong that is. It is strong, but Diabolic Edict is a much bigger change. Of course, because it applies for the entire game, not just level 25, but you know. Okay, Frost Blast, less mana cost. Sinister Gaze has way more cast range. Costs way less mana. And Scepter now also lets you cast your other abilities while channeling Sinister Gaze. Sinister Gaze was never that fucking insane. All of these changes are completely warranted, especially the Scepter. That is amazing, and I love it. You guys are thinking out of the box more now, and it's great. I love it. Initial projectile speed on Chain Frost increased, so it's harder to dodge. Sinister Gaze duration at 15. I'm taking that every single time because I take Ags every single time because I'm weird, but now it's better and it's great. Okay. Infest can no longer target undying zombies. Fair. Mana cost reduced. Scepter now also applies a disarm to the enemy. That's cancer. And it deals damage immediately after infesting. Also deals, so it does twice the damage. That's great. We take those. Rage movement speed bonus. More interesting, but technically worse than 20 movement speed. Nice. Base attack damage increased by 2. They want her to be more of a mid. But they reduce the attack speed per stack. So I stand corrected. Lion, armor reduced by 1. Earthspike, travel distance reduced by 50. Cast range is unchanged, only bonus length is reduced. Fair. And Scepter damage is reduced to more reasonable levels. And the bonus right-click damage is reduced. That's fair. Oh, that's fair. Shard was granting too little attack speed. Fair. Good change. Gotta love bug fixes. Attack speed increase to not as round numbers, but higher numbers, so we take those. Not sure if it's buff or nerf, but I'll deal with it. It's a buff. True form. Entangle chance increased from 20 to 30%. Affects only Lone Druid. Fine. That's, yeah, 30% is really good. Demolish bonus damage increased by a lot. 50%. Hello. That's, wow. Yeah, you want to be in true form a lot more now. Yeah, great change. I like true form, but it's mostly there to be tanky and you to just kind of run around, provide auras, and be tanky while your bear does all the heavy lift. And now you are also, you know, a werebear. You smack shit around and it actually matters more because Entangle is broken. So, yeah, you can really get a lot more done than in 7.29D with Lone Druid with these changes. That's pretty huge, I think. So, yee. Lucent Beam, longer cooldown. Glaive's acquisition range reduced for the shard. That's fair. It was a little broken. Damage reduction percentage on Moonglaves increased. Yeah, okay. Luna's broken. We know this. Moonglave's damage reduction minus. Cool. That more than undoes this nerf, and it's a pretty big damage increase. You take that almost every time, I imagine. Minus 20 seconds Eclipse cooldown is really cool. Global Lunar Blessing. Damn. That's probably something you take over them always as well, because that's just going to have way more game impact than almost any other talent. 35 Lunar Blessing damage. You always take this when you take this. So, yeah, that's good design. I like it. They didn't completely drive Luna into the mud, which is insightful because when you make so many changes in a patch, you don't need to nerf heroes as much. And if you do, the iterative changes strategy for Dota allows you to make it immediately in 7.30a if needed, or even later. Lycan, Shard Wolves now have low attack priority. Will only acquire enemy aggro if they are the only unit in aggro range. Wow, Shard Wolves don't get attacked by the tower immediately when they're in front. And they can cripple towers, but only the Shard Wolves. That is an exponential buff. This is an exponential, literally exponential increase in the power of this shard. That is crazy. I loved it when they released this as the Scepter. Just wolves everywhere. All over the place. It was two lanes then, but now it's just the one. This is really fucking strong. The fact that they're going to be there for the entire creep wave to kill shit, instead of dying instantaneously, is ridiculous. I can't stress how ridiculous this is enough. Howl now always lasts 8 seconds, and it has a slightly longer cooldown at early levels, but lower later. 20 Summon Wolves damage. Does that apply to Shard Wolves? I can only imagine so. Even more of a buff to the Shard, which I would buy every game if I were a Lycan player, and I might be now because honestly I was so frustrated that the wolves from the Shard, which could be great, just die every time because they're in front. Yeah, it's really nice. That's nice. Shapeshift cooldown reduced. Yeah, reducing the cooldown of an ultimate ability on the talent is pretty good generally, so. Skewer damage increased. Wow, it's actually pretty big. 40 more damage on Skewer? I mean, okay. Empower. Reducing duration is, I think, better than reducing the numbers, so you have to just keep increasing it. And this is yeah, the talents are getting better and better in design. Mars gets big cooldown reduction on Spear. That's nice. Arena Blood nerfed, though, on the by a shit ton on the old cooldown. 1.5 second God's Rebuke slow. It's a big slow, so that's fair. Minus 10% Bulwark movement penalty instead of 20 movement speed. That is a nerf, but it's cooler. It's not. It's actually not really a nerf. Because you're in Bulwark so often. It's nice. It's only a nerf early. 100 Spear of Mars damage. We take that. That is great. He definitely doesn't need more help with physical damage reduction. And even more damage reduction with Bulwark later. It's a much better talent to have at 20. So yeah, we take those. Mystic Snake will hit you less. You can dodge out of the way more effectively, and Mana Shield is worse early. That's completely fair. Moving right along. Meepo has fewer stats to work with. Fair. Poof now does pure damage, which is really, really ridiculous, but you now can't play around Poof. Poof is not going to fall off anymore. The damage amount is crazy because it's not 90 damage. If they're there channeling Poof in place, it's 180 because it does damage when they leave and when they arrive. 180 pure damage on all of the Meepos is never obsolete at any game stage, whereas 240 magic damage could be, especially against AM. AM is now fucked when playing against Meepo because you can't even survive poof. You would die to getting netted before because you can't fucking leave, and you're not going to 1v all Meepos as an AM ever. So yeah, this is a massive buff overall so far. Reworked Shard. Divided We Stand can be cast from any Meepo as long as there's another Meepo within 300 radius, causing the nearby Meepo to fling you towards a target within 900 range, dealing 100 damage and slowing the target's move speed by 50%. So you cast it from a Meepo, and a nearby Meepo casts Tiny Toss with a slow tagged on a nearby target you select, like Toss. Each Meepo has its own independent cooldown for being tossed rather than tossing, I imagine. Otherwise, it would be a little hard to wrap your mind around mechanics-wise when you're first playing with it, but I imagine that's what it is. I imagine it is the Meepo that uses it is going to go on cooldown. It would be silly otherwise. Plus 40 poof damage as a talent. This should be plus 30 or 35 because 40 is a little too much, I think. But yeah, 260 pure damage is a lot on all of the Meepos. So yeah, Meepo's a lot stronger now because this shard is actually useful. And I'm scared as a support player / offlane player. This is gonna suck. Much more interesting design than before, because yeah, this shard is really cool, and poof being pure damage is about as big of a change as making Axis Spin. I don't remember what it's called. Axis Spin to win being pure as well. That was really big, so. Yeah. Sacred Arrow max stun is lessened at early levels. That's very reasonable. You now have to max it more if you want to have the longer stuns. And the vision is reduced. Fair. 15 damage was dog shit. Now you have Sacred Arrow cooldown. 150 health. 100 leap distance. Again, way more interesting. Moonlight Shadow gives 20% evasion, even when units are visible. Yeah, that's really good. It makes it even better than Smoke, and you can get it at level 15. You take this every fucking time. Jesus. Minus 25 seconds, Moonlight Shadow cooldown. It's a lot less than minus 60, but Starstorm damage even has synergy with the Sacred Arrow eggs, so. I like it. I like these changes. They are very significant, especially the evasion. Because 20% evasion is not so much that you're going to buy MKB for it necessarily, but it's also not an amount you can ignore. So it's a really good number. It's kind of like Radiance level numbers, 17% meme. But yeah, I like it. Cast point baseline on Tree Dance is 0.1. It was 0.1 before on the shard, but they've changed it to be a Mischief Shard, which I think is going to be super cool, probably. Travel speed increase, love it. He's fucking legend now. The lifesteal is now not completely insignificant at level 1. Thank you. Reworked Shard now reduces Mischief cooldown to 8 seconds. Dear God. Invulnerability time to 0.5 seconds and disjoints projectiles on transformation. Mischief no longer reduces your movement speed below your current one, but it might increase it still. That's fantastic. Again, great job, design team. Hire me. That's all. 20 attack speed, replaced with 0.3 seconds Boundless Strike Sun. Much more interesting. Plus 2 Jingo Mastery charges. That's fucking broken. Even at level 20. I love it. Talents should be broken. Talent shouldn't be broken. It's not actually broken. It's as strong as a level 20 talent should be. They're heroes that have really game-breaking talents. Not even game-breaking. It's part of the design for talents to accelerate the pace of a game. And this does that more so than this not at all. So, yeah. That's good. Mana cost reduced on waveform. Okay. Adaptive strike agility. Base damage reduced. Okay, morph. Replicate, no longer steal shard or scepter abilities if Morphling doesn't have a shard or scepter. Should have been like that always. Good change, good decision. Let's move on. That's fair. Mana cost reduced is good compensation. Nice. And Adaptive Strike does a little bit too much damage. And this is a little bit of a reduction. So, completely fair. Naga has less agility, not by much though. Shard now makes Song of the Siren heal allies for 5% max HP per second. I used to buy that proper scepter all the time, so I'm very happy with this. Riptide damage increased at the later levels substantially. Mirror Image damage replaced with 8 agility, which in Naga's case is a reasonable thing because it's a pretty big steroid to give an agility-based illusion hero agility. Much more so than Mirror Image damage early, which doesn't do much at 10, but does more at 15 at 13%. Well done. I like it. 15 strength is kind of a contender. 300 HP and other stuff is, yeah. It's a contender, unironically. 20. Song of the Siren cooldown is gone. Riptide chance. Yeah, that's really good. It makes the illusions even stronger, and Riptide armor reduction increased at 5. Nice. Nature's Prophet, Alan is going to be happy. Base mana regen increase by 0.5 is really nice. Really nice. Scarily nice. Sprout fixed multiple instances where destroying shard sprout trees wouldn't spawn greater treants. Consistency. Always good. Vision range on Sprout reduced. That's fair. It was too good of a scouting tool. Always has been. Not crazily too good, but always a little too good. Treant base HP regen per second increase from 0.5 to 2.5. That's actually a pretty big buff. You can farm the jungle a lot better now. They're going to... Considering how many treants you have per game, it does matter quite a bit. They're going to be surviving a lot more, not in like moment to moment, oh, I healed 2 more per second for the last 10 seconds you've been hitting it. No, that's not going to matter that much. But over the course of a game, as they're taking damage, pushing waves, not taking that much damage from creeps and stuff, you're going to be doing a lot more with your treants because they're surviving more. This matters. It's not a huge change, but it adds up substantially. Damage per kill being 6. Yeah, 4 and 5 are too low. No real need for this to be scaling in 2 ways. They learned their lesson in that way before when they were making the OD Arcane Orb was based on maximum mana. There's no reason for a something that scales based on costs a percentage of mana and does damage based on a percentage of mana. There's no reason for something that's purely percentage based to increase or decrease or have higher or lower levels of percentage on scaling. It's not actually good to do that because the numbers go up over time. So yeah, this is better design because you're going to kill more things with Wrath of Nature the higher level it is because it does more flat damage. So yeah, it's doubly lower early, if you know what I mean. So yeah. 20% cooldown reduction, which I always hated as a talent. Thank you for removing it. It makes taking the no cooldown on Global Teleport feel worse if you have 20% cooldown reduction, which won't be applying to that. So thank you for moving that. You'd never buy an Octarine Core in this hero, but you're incentivized to take 20% cooldown reduction because it's just really good on items and the ult. But so this needs to be good. 75% mischance for sprouted units. They did it. That's what? That's cancer. You have to buy MKB against profit. You get sprouted, you can't even fucking fight back. MKB isn't even enough. This is more than PA in mischance. That's actually fucking unholy. I'm not sure about this one, but it's definitely worth a level 20 talent, and it does fit Prophet's playstyle, both as a support and... Damn, they're good. I would love to be part of the design team. I keep saying it. Wow. I don't know, it's impressive. The design choices are impressive. This works just as well as a support effect as it does as a I'm going to teleport on top of you and solo kill you kind of vibe. It's really strong because you have the shard, they can't even get out. They have to kill the greater treant to get out. Unless they destroy all of the trees at once. And yeah, no, this is big. It's really well designed. Thank you, Valve. Thank you, design team, that I will be a part of. Strength gain reduced from 2.6 to 2.3. That's fair, I assume. Depends on the changes made. Damage increased on Death Pulse. Okay, be careful about increasing it to 300 because that one-shots range creeps, and that's a big change. Although, to be fair, 280 is also really significant because when you're using Death Pulse in lane, you're going to have been doing damage with you're going to have been doing percent damage to them the whole time you're there. So they're actually pretty likely to die from 280 Death Pulse damage. And the heal increased as well. Yeah, that's why they reduced the strength gain. The survivability would have been a little too high. Self-restoration amplification reduced, though. And they, instead of giving him 25 damage on right clicks, they gave him 100 Reaper Scythe cast range, which is really interesting. I like that. It's not crazy. It's just cool. It's cool that that's an angle that hasn't been worked before. An angle that should be worked. This is innovation. It's not always crazy, but it is always insightful. Love it. Base damage increased by 2 on Night Stalker. Can't hurt his weak, or you can't help his weak laning stage enough. 6 armor. Oh yeah, Dark Ascension cooldown increased. That's fair. It's a little broken. Dark Ascension duration. Dear God. Dark Ascension damage. Dear God. 25 strength. Dear God. Nice. This is a big. This is a big increase in power. It will increase them in power bigly. And yes, base damage increased by 2. It matters a lot. You attack a lot of times over the course of a game. Yes, this matters for last hitting in lane, but this is 2 for the entire game, and Night Stalkers, based on attacking, it matters a lot. It matters more than 50 Dark Ascension damage. It will do more if you take this at level 15 and you use Dark Ascension on cooldown every single time and you're hitting people every single time. The base damage increased by 2 will matter more. It will factor in for more damage over the course of a game every time, because you're also not going to be using Dark Ascension on cooldown. Base damage by 2 adds up a lot. I get their design philosophy. It works well. It's subtle and fucking, yeah, it's very attractive. Base strength reduced from 18 to 17 on Nyx. Base agility reduced from 19 to 18. Base health regen reduced, and HP and mana regen reduced from 1.5 to 1% on Burrow. That's fair. The sustain was a little too high, and reducing base stats, it's a pretty big deal. But I think it's warranted in this case. He was just able to stay around too much. You don't see Nyx's going back to base nearly as often as other heroes, and while it became a facet of the hero, just one of the hero's strengths, it doesn't really feel like it was necessarily intended that he never goes back. And that's still true with Burrow at 1%. It's just you're less impossible to kill with 1%, because you also get a lot of damage reduction. Ogre Magi. Shard Fire Shield no longer procs on creep attacks. 1 second. I just want to check an interaction here. Okay. So you don't get the damage reduction from creep attacks, which is great, and you don't... Yeah, that's nice. It's going to... I mean, that's a big buff, obviously. That's fucking huge. Fixed recasting Fire Shield on an ally not replenishing its charges. Ooh, that would suck. Okay. Mana cost increased from 38% to 35% on Unrefined Fire Blast. That's completely fair. Increasing the damage of Fire Blast by 10 is substantial. Not as substantial as 2 base damage on Night Stalker, but it is something that matters more than it would for another hero because of multicast. Unrefined Fire Blast, taking it from, in the space of like 4 patches, it felt like from 60 to 45 to 30 was pretty wild. Not crazy unreasonable, but wild. Ignite, mana cost reduction. Great. I mean, I'm not complaining, I'm just... I guess Ogre needed it, come to think of it. I mean, I use Ignite. Ignite is the... Obviously, you use Ignite. Maxing Ignite feels really good, but now you might be a little bit more incentivized to max Fire Blast since it's lower mana cost on Ignite. So it's another angle that they've worked that just adds more subtlety to the game, and you can always use more of that. Lots of finesse. Strength gain on Omni reduced, agility gain increased, a little bit more armor over the course of a game. Omni doesn't right click a huge amount, usually just for the Heimer Purity stuff, which we'll get to the changes of. Bonus strength, that's a massive increase in fucking bonus strength. 6 more strength, and you know, it's not unsubstantial at the lower levels too. It's a big increase in survivability. The only problem is that it reduces the efficiency of healing by increasing their HP and not compensating the healing to match. I would like to see, obviously it gives regen, but I would like to see potentially increased healing taken on Heavenly Grace a little bit to account for the increased strength, so it's proportionately still the same. I'd like to see that and potentially remove the regen, honestly. Or you could keep the regen. Honestly, just reduce the regen, make that a thing. You can still heal with the Q. It feels a little better. And yeah, I think Omni having % increased healing matters a little bit more than on Chen. Because Omni's clutch heals are much more consistent than Chen's. You can clutch heal on just a Q. You can just use that, and it can sometimes be quite clutch. Chen can have amazing big brain plays using that by pressing that R at exactly the right time, but now that's more based around removing an entire RP, which is still blowing my mind. Yeah. Okay, Guardian Angel cooldown reduced. Thank you, it's been too long for a little while. Scaling more substantially feels a little better as well. Oh, Oracle, my boy, my favorite hero. Hammer Purity. No longer heals Omni Knight on attack, can no longer be cast on creeps. Now puts a debuff on the enemy hero, which reduces the enemy's outgoing damage by 60% for 4 seconds. More of a support role, having a debuff on enemies that reduces attack damage, or just damage in general in this case, it's fucking crazy, is way more significant than applying additional buffs to yourself and your allies that reduce damage taken. If you have both, it's a big deal. And Guardian Angel isn't the only way for him to reduce damage taken now, so that feels a lot better. I love it. It's a good design, as always. Mana cost increased from 20 to 40. That's fair. Cooldown increased from 4 to 10. Okay, so it's not 100% uptime. That would have been properly broken. So you do have to think about it. This isn't crazy powerful, but it is going to be much more impactful than healing on attack. And it still does pure damage when you hit them. You're just going to be hitting less often. And you can't use it on creeps. So that further pushes him into a support role because you don't gain increased farming speed. But that's fine. Oracle gets more armor. I love you. Thank you. Thank you for Thank you for buffing my boy in that one way. Cooldown increased on Purifying Flames. Doesn't matter. That's it matters. And I actually prefer 2.5 as a number to have. But it's not a substantial nerf. And False Promise lasts a little bit less time. That's fine. It's a fair nerf. It's definitely a fair nerf. Oracle's still strong. But you need to time the False Promise a little bit better is the only change this is. You need to use it at more... You need to use it earlier or later, respectively, based on the situation. You just need to time it a little bit better at the level 1. And then level 2, it's even less of a difference, and at level 3, it's the same, so... Yeah, that's fine. Oracle already has pretty interesting talents, so I'm fine. Arcane Orb now affects Roshan, thank you. It should have the whole time. It's just a minor oversight. Or perhaps it was a design choice, but OD really, really sucked at killing Rosh, and now he's quite good at killing Rosh. Silencer wasn't completely overpowering Rosh. Obviously, OD does way more damage until you get crazy scaling on the Silencer, like per attack, so... I don't know. OD is scary good at taking Roshan now, but I think that's reasonable. It's another niche. Fixed Astral Imprisonment debuff not displaying correctly. Nice. Grants an additional plus 5% mana capacity steal to Astral Imprisonment. Okay, I don't actually know what that means. I should read the rest. Also allows allies to move at 40% movement speed during Astral Imprisonment. They are visible but untargetable and can't perform any other actions. This isn't on a shard. Okay, I want to handle one thing at a time. Additional plus 5% mana capacity steal to Astral Imprisonment. So they just increased it by 5%. This is a shard, isn't it? Okay. Interesting. This says 40%, but it says 60% on the tooltip here. Being able to move at, let's say, 60% movement speed during Astral Imprisonment while invulnerable is fucking dumb. I love it. That is so cool. That's so fucking cool. Get more charges, increase damage, apply the damage in an area, and now allies can move in it. So you don't even feel bad under any circumstances using it on them. They haven't replaced the video yet, but that ability is fairly useless. Cool design, just doesn't really fit OD. Definitely don't scrap that, though. That's a good idea for someone else. That old shard. Shield Crash now slows enemies. Okay. Is this broken now? Okay. Tango, Shield Crash now slows enemies by a shit ton, 25 scaling to 40% for 3 seconds. Damage reduction per hero increased by a lot early. Okay, but it lasts a lot less time early and more time later. Cooldown is reduced. Can you hear that? Nope. Okay, noise cancellations. A little too strong. That's fine. Shield Crash is fucking broken. Lucky Shot no longer slows enemies, which is expected and fair. Armor reduction going up. Shield Crash is really fucking good. In fact, you definitely max Shield Crash first now, under all circumstances, Well done. Shield Crash always needed a little extra something, and this is it. I don't know if this is worrisome, but Pango has had a bit of struggle finding a niche, and now he's just fucking avoidable to deal with. Slowing enemies while being able to cast Shield Crash in the ball, by the way, is going to be cancer. I'm going to go back to playing Pango. Dev team, if you're listening, first of all, please hire me. Second of all, Shield Crash. Sorry, not Shield Crash. Great design in Shield Crash. Now, it was good design before, but this is beautiful. Please allow, like in Heroes of the Storm, which I played nowhere near as much as Dota, but enough to be well acquainted with it. Please allow turning quick cast on and off for individual abilities. I know that won't be easy to do, but if you do it, a lot of people will thank you. It will add additional customization complexity to the game, and I will love you for it eternally, because I switched to quick cast, and the one ability I can't fucking use anymore is Pango's Q. I cannot use this ability on quick cast. I used to be really good at using Swashbuckle in various scenarios. It's not a crazy hard ability, but I have Essential Tremor and whatnot, so it's even harder for me to use quick cast Swashbuckle. Vector targeted abilities especially benefit from not being under the effects of quick casting, but just allowing it for everyone, like that nice little menu that's in Heroes of the Storm, would be nice. Please consider. Thank you. PA. Stifling Dagger slow duration increased at earlier levels. That's a long slow duration, but it was a little bit too short before, and she's not amazing in lane, so honestly, this is fine. I haven't played against a PA in lane. I haven't stomped in a pretty long time, so punishing overextension is even more so now, so yeah, this is good. Phantom Strike duration is a big buff, much better than 175 health. Good design, like it. Juxtapose, yes, the cooldown was too long. It also increases max illusion count by 2. Okay, everyone's going to buy this now if they've read this. I'm going to buy it every time on PL. I was buying it before because it just allows you to go in and fucking burst people and also confuse the shit out of them. Because they have no fucking idea where you are. With another ability of Fields that does that. Even disregarding micro. This is a good scepter now. Increasing max illusion count by 2 is honestly almost good enough to be his eggs anyway, so this is nice. Yeah, Phoenix needs a little bit of help, but not a crazy amount, mostly quality of life. Dash length reduced at earlier levels, that's fair. Max health is heal per second, reduced to rounder numbers. They were pretty round, but reduced substantially by about 20%. That's completely fair. Actually, exactly 20% in some cases. Fire spirits, yes, quality of life. This is what is nice. I like this. Radius increased. This is completely reasonable. Phoenix heals a little too much, so. Base damage reduced by 1 on Puck. That hurts, but not a crazy amount on Puck. Cooldown increased on Phase Shift. Hurts a lot, though. And Dream Coil no longer having an initial stun is the biggest nerf of these, until I get to talents, potentially, because you can't cancel stuff like Black Hole anymore. Right? So that's savage. Illusory Orb Distance, much more interesting than attack damage, thank you. pushing Puck more into a caster role, but simultaneously nerfing Dream Coil. That is elegant. I appreciate the change. It's not going to kill the hero by any means, but it does hurt. Pudge is a hero now. Right? Costs more mana, except at max level, and it kills any non-ancient creep it hits. Does that include Warlock Golems? Probably not. That is crazy and fair. It's like Arrow now. Love it. That's completely fine. They nerfed the shard cast range very slightly. It's still a lot of cast range. Given Pudge can be in the front pretty safely. Peeling, as League of Legends plebs would say. And yeah, instantly killing non-ancient creeps matters a lot because I mean it's pretty clear why that matters. That's a non-zero amount of farm increase. It is way more than non-zero amount of farm increase. Holy shit, Pudge kind of struggles killing the big creep in a camp. Not anymore. Got him. Probably not an ideal case, but it's an option, and options are good in a game as complex and deep as Dota. Big fan of this. We're one step closer to Pudge being a the chonker he was always meant to be. TI shenanigans aside. Netherward no longer has a mana reducing aura. That sucks. Now additionally heals 2 hits whenever it triggers. Oh my god, you're never going to fucking kill it again. You have to hit it so many more times if people are you have to be like yell at your team, stop casting! Stop casting! Oh my god! Please stop casting spells! Oracle, stop fucking casting the spells! I know you're taking damage. I know you have your W on yourself, but stop casting spells. Dear god. We're never going to kill it. This is a buff. It's really weird, but it's a buff because the mana reducing aura usually just served to give away the Netherward, that the Netherward was there. You could triangulate the Netherward's position a teensy bit more easily. You can see where the fucking streak comes from, so it's not that hard to find it. But you could triangulate where it is more easily, or you'd know not to cast spells immediately when you started losing mana if you were paying attention to that. And that's no longer a worry. Netherward is going to trigger at least once each time you cast it if you cast it in a marginally decent area. And now it isn't just going to be easy to focus down every time. This is a big buff. It's actually a huge buff, I'd say. And I'm not overhyping these things. This is actually really elegant. That's a good way to buff the shit out of Netherward. I think some people will probably say this is a nerf, but it's not. It's not. Netherblast cooldown, no longer a victim of the minus 20% on all talents nerf. Fair. Nice and rounded off. Base damage increased by 3. Same argument as for Night Stalker. It matters a lot. Like a lot. Shadow Strike now heals Queen of Pain. Wait, this is baseline? No. No. Is it? I mean, it's fucking on brand. Let's be real. She's into that shit, for sure. Now heals Queen of Pain for a lot on every tick. Heals 50% on creeps. And the tick damage was reduced a little. So it's you healed exactly half. Or a quarter for creeps. 10% cooldown reduction replaced with +2 Shadow Strike damage instances. Same duration, ticks happen more often. That's good. I like that design more than it I might have otherwise. Scream of Pain damage. Okay. That's good because Scream of Pain wasn't doing enough damage since she had talents before. She had means to increase the damage of it before, and then it went away, and it kind of felt a little lacking as a hero nuker after that time. 30% spell lifesteal wasn't taken that often anyway, and 10% cooldown reduction is pretty sad on a hero with such short cooldowns already, other than the ulti, of course. This is a lot more survivability. It gives more of a niche. It makes a lot of sense given the hero, what the hero is as a demon. So the hero's purpose as a demon, which is basically being an Arrhenius or one of the Furies, and being super into it. Eye of the Storm. Razor now applies its armor reduction before applying its damage. Oh my god, there's a lot of big roundabout buffs in this patch. I'm a big fan of that. This is going to increase the damage of Eye of the Storm by at least 20%. Always. This matters. Plasma field damage. Remember, this does damage twice, and this applies to the minimum and maximum damage. This is really, really good. Really, really good. The base, the minimum damage is like 45 to 180, right? It scales up to 180. Okay, 50 to 185. Close enough. This makes it 80 to 15. So it's bigger of a buff than it seems. And 8 armor, not necessary on Razor, for obvious reasons. Just drains their damage. Static link, drain duration. Also, you build Razor pretty tanky, so tanky talents don't help as much. Static link, drain duration. Oh, it's not even duration on the buff, it's drain duration. You get way more damage out of Static link. I was wondering why it was a level 20 talent, and now I get it. I'm really impressed by the balance team this time. I've wanted to be on the Dota balance team for years, but now more than ever, it would be an honor to be part of such a team. I'm overselling this so much. Blink Strike. Damage increased at early levels. That checks out. Damage per attack reduced on Tricks of the Trade, but you attack more often on the Scepter. That's fair. That's fine. Sleeping Dart. Cast range reduced. That's fine. Mana cost reduced. Yeah, this doesn't matter too much. Rubik is great, obviously. Cooldown reduced massively. Projectile speed increased massively, so that changes how quickly the spell comes back to you. Could be a nerf in some instances, but they're very rare. Okay, level 10. Fade Bolt borrows hero damage replaced with plus 10% Fade Bolt damage reduction. Thank you. Much better. 100 base damage replaced with minus 25% stolen spell cooldown. And now I need to know what the other talent is, because there has to be a great reason to not take that every single time. That's obviously an extremely strong one. It's an indirect Scepter nerf, because you're less incentivized to want to steal another spell in some situations due to being able to cast all the spells more often. Great design, like it. Strength gain reduced from 3.0 to 2.7. Nice. Don't care. On Sand King, he doesn't need it. Epicenter Shard now also grants plus 20 damage per pulse. I was buying the Shard anyway because it is strong, contrary to popular belief, which is pretty much unfounded. Also grants 20 damage per pulse, which is a massive damage increase for Epicenter and also just in general. And Sandstorm DPS being earlier is always better. Sandstorm DPS being 30, Sandstorm Radius is really big. flat 120 caustic finale damage is really good on creeps, and with the Ags, this is a big Sand King buff. Overall, really big buffs. Lots of heroes are getting big buffs, and they're all heroes that definitely deserve it, and they're not over-nerfing heroes that do deserve nerfs, like Luna. Shadow Demon needs help. Cast range increase from 600 to 650. Best stat to get on Disruption. Stack damage on Shadow Poison is higher earlier, lower later. Soul Catcher now temporarily gives... Oh, okay. Yeah, they fixed Shadow Demon. Soul Catcher now temporarily gives Shadow Demon Spell Amp for each hero debuffed. Guys, you fucking rock. Design team? Damn. It's a lot of Spell Amp. This keeps Shadow Demon relevant damage-wise for the entire game and makes him even scarier early on. Like you can seriously nuke the fuck out of people. Okay, Shadow Fiend needs a little help, a lot of help. Okay, Necromastery Shard. Necromastery is now an attack modifier that consumes one soul, granting your next attack 170% crit with a 3-second cooldown. Additionally, enemies killed grant an extra soul. That's so fucking cool. Dude, Dota is so good now. We're getting told about patches coming out in advance. We're getting new innovative changes, even more innovative than usual, in addition to them being iterative and never overreacting. This is so cool. Necromastery is now an attack modifier. It consumes one soul, but you get 2 souls for everything you kill, granting your next attack 170% crit. Guaranteed crit on Shadow Fiend, 3-second cooldown. This is fucking passive. You can get your souls back way faster when you die. You already don't lose that many these days when you die. And you can get them back guaranteed, using souls to fuel damage. It always felt weird to me. Not weird bad, but just kind of... It felt weird that you got the souls and they just sat there. And now they don't. You actually use the souls even more so as fuel for the old engine. And yeah, guaranteed crits. This buffs Caster Fiend and Right Click Fiend because this is a shard. It doesn't take any item slots. And it just straight... But you buy this every single game. Probably is like right at 20 minutes. Requiem Souls slows less early and more later. This is such a cool change. I love that. More attack speed, more spell amp as options at 10. Again, depending on if you're going Caster Fiend or Right Clicky Fiend. Less movement speed, or no movement speed talent, plus Shadow Race talent instead of at 20. Where you get plus 3.3 seconds Requiem Fear / slow per line. So for each line you get hit by, you get slowed more, and this makes it even more slow. Minus 40 seconds Requiem Souls cooldown, way more significant than 30% cooldown reduction. Again, fucking round of applause to the Dota development team, which is getting better every patch. Thank you guys. Please... I'm not going to say it. You know. Mass Serpent Ward, you know what to do. Cooldown rescaled from 120 to 130, 120, 110. Mana cost reduced by a little bit later. So it scales more linearly. 175 health is minus 3 seconds Hex cooldown instead. Again, much more interesting. Minus 5 seconds Hex cooldown replaced with 1 second Shackle duration, instead of it being 2 seconds Shackle duration at 20. 15 talent is even more attack range. Oh my god. Level 20 talent Hex breaks. Oh my god. Guys, Hex is no longer worse than Lion's ability of the same name. That's crazy. Hex breaks. I just got an 11-11. Guys, it's 11-11. Valve, please hire me. Specifically for the Dota team. I would love that so much. You guys have a great fucking night. I'm going to keep reading these patch notes. Thank you guys for watching this far. There's a moment of silence for you. Hex breaks. Fantastic. Okay, Silencer gets less strength gain. Okay. Probably going to get lots more offense. Arcane Curse now deals double damage and slow when target is silenced. That's fucking broke. You guys remember when Arcane Curse used to be removed by casting a spell? It was good design, in theory, because you'd cast it on people that were silenced. But punishing people casting spells and suspending the duration while silenced, that's more elegant. Both good design. This works more for the game mechanically, even if both work well for the fantasy. Penalty duration, reduced. That's fine. Flat Arcane Curse damage. This is way bigger now. Way bigger now. It's way stronger if you get it at level 10 than at level 15, because there's a big time difference between those two when you're a support. 100 attack range, way more significant. Arcane Curse slow. Arcane Curse is getting stronger and stronger. 400 health, huge for literally anyone. Last word, int multiplier. Wow. It's like 4.5x now. Yeah. Honestly, I mean, 400 health only if you need it. Otherwise, holy shit, that's crazy. Last word mutes items. Dude, last word is an AoE. You can't just have half of a doom. It's fully a doom. Really is their last word. Holy shit, that's fucking metal as hell. Dude, you guys are so good at design. It's getting better. I'm telling you. Dota's the shit. More linear scaling, base damage is nice. On Arcane Bolt, very minor changes. Mystic Flare reducing duration is a buff because it does damage faster. Slardar. Cooldown massively increased on Guardian Sprint, but the movement speed increase is higher earlier. And it scales to be the normal amount later. Slithering Crush damage is lower early, higher later, and it scales more linearly, which I love. Gotta love that symmetry. Guardian Sprint cooldown reduced by 3 seconds, level 10. That's not really significant enough, I don't think. Slithering Crush attack and speed and movement slow is way more significant, and I think you should take that every time, because 20 to 30% is a big change. Slithering Crush damage 100 is a lot better than 25% lifesteal on Slardar, because he doesn't do that much damage with actual attacks. He does a lot of damage with the bash. Slark. Dark Pack only does 30% self-damage instead of 50. That's a huge buff to Slark's farm. Shattered Lance has 5 seconds lower cooldown at all levels. Aforementioned boring 9 strength talent is -1 second Dark Pack cooldown. Again, massive buff to Slark's farm. And just survivability in general. 18% lifesteal. Slark doesn't do that much damage with... He doesn't... He already has enough healing. 18% lifesteal is not necessary. Shadow Dance attack speed is super cool. Gives you even more reason to fucking use that bullshit ability. Dark Pack damage. Again, Dark is just giving heroes options to buff their abilities is way more interesting than giving stats. Oh, Jesus. 1 agility per essence shift stack. Are you sure? 33% increase in agility from essence shift is pretty fucking dumb. Love it. Makes the hero more of who he already is. Instead of giving generic stat increases. Snapfire is even stronger. In the most literal way possible, they have more strength gain. Mana cost reduced on Fire Snap Cookie. That's interesting. That's cool. Mortimer Kisses does more burn damage, which, yeah, the burn damage is a little sad in comparison to the impact damage. Guys, I still think Mortimer Kisses resembles Napalm, right? I think that it should do less impact damage, and the burn damage, yeah, the DOT should fully stack. I think that's how it should be. I think that would be super interesting. And it would also make it more counterable due to it being dispellable. Cooldown rescaled, that's fair. Okay, Scatterblast slow duration. It's 100% slow, so that's insanely good. Sniper buffs, please, for the love of God. I've sent you guys emails, and by emails I mean like the Dota 2 suggestions area before, for sniper especially. So, shrapnel damage increased by 5 at each level. That matters a lot. No longer grants True Strike for take aim. Active self movement speed slow increased quite a bit. Active headshot chance is 100%. Wow. Cooldown is reduced by quite a bit. Mana cost is reduced. Duration is reduced. So you're even more incentivized to do like MKB, Mjolnir, stuff like that. Nice. That's good design. I like it. Take aim duration being put back into talents, which again is great design, especially when low cooldown reduction numbers on heroes that don't need it. Reworked Shard on Spectre. Causes Dispersion to fire a Spectral Dagger every 300 damage absorbed in the direction of the last source of damage. Can fire a maximum of 1 dagger every 7 seconds and only triggers off player-based damage within 700 range. That's before reductions, isn't it? Or is it only... Yeah, of course it's before reductions. It's just damage absorbed from Dispersion. Really well done. The debuff is now dispellable, but that's... Wait, how does that work if you're standing in it? That's fair. It's a nerf. Shadow Step being able to target creep hero units was probably really fucking annoying. I've never seen that happen. 5 HP regen, again, really boring. 5 seconds Spectral Dagger cooldown, again, giving heroes more capacity to enhance their abilities. Is always good. 5 HP regen, boring but very effective, undeniably. 5 Spectral Dagger cooldown, makes Spectre feel more like Spectre. 100 Spectral Dagger damage, buffs the shit out of this shard. It's almost a 50% damage increase on Spectral Dagger, by the way. It's more like 40%. Dispersion firing a Spectral Dagger every 300 damage absorbed. That is really strong. Because that means you're going to be able to like run in all different directions with Spectral Dagger kind of for free. Tinker is completely fucked because, you know, you get lasered and you're like, I'm firing a Spectral Dagger in your exact direction, I'm going to run you down. And he's just going to blink away, but, you know, you can fucking try. If you can get close enough, you can't because of, you know, you're standing in March of the Machines and there's Dispersion, so there's that. Okay, Spirit Breaker, a lot of changes. Strength reduced from 29 plus 3.1 to 27 plus 3.0. That's fine, he doesn't need that much strength. Mana cost for Charge of Darkness return to the standard 100. The Scepter no longer grants 175 bonus movement speed, but it now makes the charge itself pierce spell immunity and reduce its cast point to 0.1 instead of like a full 1 second. You can just charge and like turn on a dime. You just go all the way on. Greater Bash now deals 1.5 times damage to creeps, very similar to the change to Slardar's Bash. Hopefully, Greater Bash gets the old rename eventually, just like all of Slardar's abilities did. For example, Slardar's ultimate used to be called Amplify Damage, and now it's the very flavorful and icky Corrosive Haze, which is very cool. Level 15 talent, 10 HP regen, replaced with 4 seconds Bulldoze cooldown. There. Bulldoze is an ability that benefits from uptime quite a bit, and level 20, you don't want a talent like that. 200 movement speed during Charge of Darkness, however, is crazy. Greater Bash chance, way better than Greater Bash damage, but they put it... Yeah, this is just an overall buff, these two right here. 1.5 damage to creeps on Greater Bash is huge because you charge through a lot of creeps with Charge of Darkness, and you're just overall going to get more farm that way. And he has a very high base attack time, 1.9, so giving him more farming ability, or any farming ability at all, is nice. Storm Spirit. Approaching the end here. Static Remnant, damage increased to 300. Therefore, one-shots ranged creeps. That's nice. Ball Lightning, starting mana cost is 30 plus... Instead of it being 30 plus 8% of your maximum mana, it is 25 plus 7.5%, so you can more effectively sumail around, spamming the shit out of Ball Lightning. Instead of having to go a little bit farther, you can now just spam it, and it won't completely fuck your mana pool. Static Remnant damage plus 40. Really good. Way better at 10 than at 15. And 250 health. This is overall a buff, because the damage matters more slightly earlier. So, okay. Quick Cleave, damage rescaled. It now goes out to 100%. Fair. I like it. Overall a big buff. It adds up. Stormhammer having reduced cast point. Cast point is one of the most important modifiers you can modify, so definitely take those. Techie's Proximity Mines. Damage is reduced, but it does more damage to buildings, which honestly to me is a wash. Proximity Mines are quite strong, and while this will be a significant nerf against heroes, it's not that significant when you're dealing with numbers that big. And it pretty much breaking even against buildings, possibly even being buffed against buildings. I haven't done the math. It's probably not above, but you know. It's pretty good. Spill range multiplier on side blades reduced from 2 to 1.5, and now deals 5% less spill damage to each successive enemy after the first one. That is a big nerf. It makes a lot of sense, and I like it, but it's a big nerf. Psionic Projection, channel time increased, and no longer teleports if TA is rooted or leashed. That's fair. It definitely shouldn't work if you're rooted or leashed, and the channel time, 1 second, is maybe a little low. I'm not totally sure. Sideblaze range replaced with Psionic Trap damage, and yeah, this is overall definitely a nerf, these two, and this is obviously a pretty significant nerf as well, but yeah, this is completely fair. This is completely fair. This shouldn't kill the hero, especially if there are other item changes. Terrorblade's agility gain got reduced pretty substantially. Demon Zeal applies a basic Dispel on Terrorblade. That's nice. Meta lasts a little bit less time, but it's not going to hurt that much. Level 10 talent, 20 movement speed is now 2 seconds of reflection duration, and level 25 talent, instead of Metamorphosis attack range, which is, I would argue, useless, replaced with 20 seconds Metamorphosis duration, which is the best stat possible on Terrorblade. Nice. Tidehunter, like Nature's Prophet, now has 0.5 base mana regen. Very nice. Gush has a little bit less armor reduction. And they reduce the bonus damage applied on Anchor Smash. And the threshold timer, you can't break out of stuns quite as often on Tidehunter. That's... I'm not sure how I feel about that. But talent should more than fix that. 20 movement speed is now 10% Gush slow. That's why they nerfed the armor reduction. It would have been way too strong with Aghanim Scepter. 1.75 mana regen replaced with minus 100 damage Kraken Shell threshold. Holy shit. That is way more significant than 6 to 7 threshold timer. You're pretty much going to have that happen every time. 200 damage replaced with 50% chance to anchor smash on attacks. That is so fucking dumb, and I love it. 20% cooldown duration replaced with 1 second Ravage stun duration. That's a really hard choice. But Anchor Smash on attacks is ridiculous for pushing. And it's also just really fucking funny and strong. There's a guy I used to know who would have really found this fun if he still played Dota at the time I last talked to him. Timbersaw. Whirling Death. Damage reduced by 20. Tree damage is a little bit higher later, lower earlier. And the debuff duration is increased because that is the most significant aspect of the ability. And Timber Chain also does less damage early substantially. But let's see, fixed Timber Chain cast range being slightly larger than Timber Chain length, causing Timber Chain to sometimes miss. That's probably a pretty big buff. This isn't going to nerf the hero that much. And cooldown reduction being replaced with Chakram Slow is pretty huge because that's per second. It's 5% increased slow per second, so it's 8%. So this is a really big buff. Tinker. Oh, that's a lot of changes. Laser now splashes 100% of its damage on a 250 AoE, but only the main target gets blinded or shrink rayed. Shrink ray bonus cast range reduced. And shrink ray HP reduction reduced. That's a massive buff to Tinker. And honestly, Laser deserves that. Defensive Matrix is now a basic skill. Oh my god. Defense Matrix is now a basic skill. Mana cost reduced a lot. Damage absorbed reduced a lot. But not later. Status resistance reduced early. Yeah, I mean, it's made to scale like a reasonable ability. Cast range increased by quite a bit. Much more usable. And cooldown reduction, cooldown reduced from 30 to 12. I'm kind of worried with, I'm honestly kind of worried right now. Cooldown reduced, this is now a really short cooldown for Tinker. Mana cost rescaled to, yeah, I mean, it's higher early, that's fair. Keen Conveyance, new rearm sub ability, so I guess it's down to D or F. It's TP scroll. Oh, sorry, it's TP boots. This is the biggest buff they could have done to Tinker because, yeah, now you don't need to buy Boots of Travel ever. As of level 12. That's so... Wow. That is... I'm at a loss for words. That's the most elegant solution they possibly could have done for Tinker. Guys, well done. That's really good. Wow. Thank you. Tinker is fucking saved. March of the Machines is now a shard. Costs the maximum mana cost from before, and it is 30 explosion damage. Which is, this is a massive overall buff. Not having March of the Machines in lane is more than compensated for the fact you have a 100% splash pure damage nuke that does over 300 damage. 8% spell amp replaced with 2 seconds laser blind duration. Level 15 talent, minus 0.5 keen teleport channel time. Keen conveyance. So it becomes 3 seconds, so it's a normal TP. Oh my god, I just realized teleporting to a building with keen conveyance, Tinker is not affected by the fact that another hero might have teleported to that area already. He's just not affected at all anymore with buildings. That's maybe the biggest... No, it's not the biggest buff, because he was a hero that required an item. It was always a little bit shitty. Plus 150 defense matrix damage absorbed is real nice. And spell amp at level 20, which is fair because laser doing splash is terrifying. The fact Tinker doesn't have to farm Boots of Travel completely mitigates the fact that he's not going to have the farming capability of March of the Machines. Completely mitigated. At level, or at 20 minutes, you can easily have a Bloodstone farmed. You're going to be going all over the fucking place. You're going to be getting to places faster with Keen Conveyance than you would with Boots of Travel. You can get the teleport channel time. I fucking love this development team. Yeah. Really elegant. Holy shit. Great job. Tree throw on Tiny. Splash percentage increased to 200%. That's a big number. And Grow has less of an attack speed penalty at later levels. Treant is a little bit faster, and the duration of Nature's Grasp is reduced. Totally fair. Living Armor Heal, a little bit higher. A little bit of a janky number, but that's fine. And Leech Seed Slow is a great modifier. Troll Warlord. Whirling Axe is ranged. You can shotgun people harder because it does 15 more damage per axe. And Battle Trance has a lower cooldown, which is completely fair because it is a little bit long. Plus 7 Berserker's Rage armor. Presumably on melee mode. And level 10, you could get movement speed instead. Yeah, those are both... That's a really hard choice. Genuinely. It depends on the game. But if you need the armor, you're definitely going to know that, and you're definitely going to pick that. And if you don't need the armor, you definitely take the movement speed because holy shit. Especially on Troll. Really good changes. This is actually significant buffs as well. Wow, lots of buffs, which generally I think is... Yeah, wow. Really nice. Tusk. Reworked Shard. Enemies within 200 radius of the center of the Ice Shard suffer from 40% slow and take 60 DPS, and the Ice Shard length, which would be the walls of the Ice Shard, the length is 300, increased by 300. Within 200 radius of the center of the Ice Shard, so that might even work for people that are slightly outside of the Ice Shard. In fact, it definitely will. Snowball bonus damage per hero increased dramatically by 25%. This is big. This here is big. This is really good design. Just Tusk hasn't really had that much slow capacity other than Tag Team, which didn't really feel the same as like a passive ambient kind of slow since we lost Frozen Sigil, Ice Sigil, whatever it was called. Yeah. Tag Team damage is a really strong modifier as well, especially since it falls off a tiny bit after the lane stage with only like 2 heroes. And it scales, obviously, massively with more heroes hitting, especially supports because they usually don't do much damage, and with this they do. Underlord. I love this hero. Base movement speed reduced by 5. Firestorm mana cost increased by 10. Fiend's Gate, Reworked Scepter. Grants a new ability, Fiend's Gate. Cast within 4,000 range, that's a big range, to create a portal next to Underlord and a portal at the target location. This is Medivh Gate from Here's the Storm, isn't it? Allies can click on either portal to teleport to the other one after a 2-second channel. Portals are indestructible, last 20 seconds, and can only be cast in locations where wards can be placed. That's really cool. No shade for getting that from Heroes of the Storm. It's a really cool effect, and it's obviously not unique to Heroes of the Storm. That's really, really cool. As much as I miss the second charge, this is obviously much better. 4,000 range is a longer range than Sniper's Ultimate. So Underlord has offensive capabilities now. You Biceptor every single game, or at least I will. This is obviously an extremely high skill floor and ceiling ability. And yeah. 1% Firestorm burn damage, 12% Atrophy Aura damage reduction. Those are both really big buffs, or really big modifiers, especially much better than the talents available. And at 25, allies get 50% of the damage from Atrophy Aura. These are huge buffs to Underlord, my boy. I love it. Thank you. I love you. Mana cost of Soul Rip is much lower earlier, which helps in the lane. Flesh Golem gets even more bonus movement speed. And the Shard now reduces Flesh Golem's cooldown by 30 seconds and causes Undying to spawn one zombie on each attack. Dear God, help us. What the fuck? Oh my, holy shit. Okay. Decay damage, which, by the way, is done after the strength reduction, which is huge. This will make Decay do a hell of a lot more damage because it does like 100 at max level. 50% increase is nothing to scoff at, regardless of the numbers involved. That's a really good shard. You buy that every game, like immediately when you can. Jesus. Ursa, base strength increased by 1. And Earthshock cooldown is increased earlier. And the shard no longer reduces cooldown by 1. Totally fair, Ursa can feel pretty unfair. Nether Swap now deals 50 damage to enemies, which cancels Blink. And the new tier 1 neutral item. And Nether Swap now causes Vengeful Spirits and allies she swaps to take 50%, 30 to 50% less damage for 3 seconds. Vengeful Spirit is no longer squishy and can save people even harder. That is a gigantic buff. God. Wow. I really appreciate all this. This is really, really well done. I know I just sound like a broken record at this point, but damn. They even did the thing where you add something that affects enemies and you add something that affects yourself and allies in the same buff so that it doesn't feel in any way like an imbalance in that way. Less damage taken. Can you deal 50 damage to enemies? Nice. Venom has less agility. Seems to be a theme. Poison Nova. Damage rescaled. Oh my god. That's fair. Honestly, this ability's kind of fallen off over time. It will never fall off again. Percent max health damage with a flat bonus that is not small. Holy fucking shit. That's insane. This is the best patch that's been released in a long time, it feels like. And that's saying something. Wow. And they just increased the percentage here. I will say that I hope that this the AGS numbers are a typo, because this is not enough base damage. AGS is not it's not worth it to buy AGS for 1% max health and damage per second. Relative to the power of the base ability. So yeah, this is really nice. Honestly, I think the Aghanim Scepter should be the thing that increases the AoE of it. But yeah, I think that would be best. But yeah, 100 attack range replaced with 175 health. That's reasonable for Veno since they have issues with sometimes dying. Poison attack for Viper costs 2 less mana at all levels. And the max damage of Nether Toxin is a little reduced, that's fair. And the level 15 talent more than compensates, that's nice. Okay. Visage. Grave Chill, move speed, drain, reduced. That's fine. It increases your move speed and reduces theirs, so it's a little bit of a crazy ability for chasing. So reducing these numbers, while it does affect both ways, isn't going to completely kill anything. Soul Assumption, gather damage radius. It being 1800 just makes more sense because it's one of the standard aura ranges. It's one of the 1500 is not a standard number to have in Dota, and this is just a nice little buff. Summon Familiars, lower cooldown, can't possibly hurt, and armor increased, turn rate increased is a pretty big nerf, but this is overall a significant buff. These changes are definitely a buff. Okay, Void Spirit. Aether Remnant, mana cost is reduced by 10, and it pulls for 0.2 seconds longer. That is really nice, and they increased the shit out of the debuff damage from Astral Step, so he's not, he's just, yeah, that's fair. 15 damage replaced with 60 Aether Remnant damage, rewarding skill more, with Aether Remnant being not that easy of an ability to land on savvy enemies on the enemy team. And yeah, Astral Step, that's a really big buff. 40 DPS upheaval for Warlock replaced by 10% attack speed per second to allies. So upheaval provides 10% attack speed per second to allies. That is ridiculous. Percentage attack speed is completely new. That's insane for pushing because you make your allies attack faster and your enemies less able to run away. That's not even a dichotomy. That's just interesting. Makes sense. I like it. The Swarm, travel speed increase. Wow. Now ignores damage block. That's actually a really big deal because all melee heroes have a stout shield. Geminate attack can now be toggled to disable autocast. Oh my god, the quality of life features. Level 10 talent. Oh, come on. I don't like it, but 9 strength is helpful for Weaver. One of those heroes that's like I mentioned for AM earlier. You get a lot out of a chunk of health because if you get out, you're like completely out. So not being burst is a big deal. +2 swarm attacks to kill is a big deal. Geminate attack damage is really big, especially with Desolator. And swarm armor reduction at level 20. Yeah, that's fair. Wind Ranger. Gale Force. Reworked Shard. Now grants Gale Force. Vector targeted. Again, please, please, please add the functionality to make some abilities quick cast and some other abilities not. Not just based on the keybind, because you'd have to change it every time. Just based on hero abilities. Would be amazing. Gale Force, vector targeted, summons a strong wind that pushes all enemies within 1000 AoE by 250 units per second in the target direction for 3 seconds. Units can still move, attack, and cast spells, does not interrupt channeling. Mana cost 150, cooldown 40 seconds. Level 15 talent, 100 attack range replaced with Windrun Undispellable, that's a really big buff. And cooldown reduction, 25% replaced with Focus Fire, kills, advanced cooldown by 20 seconds. These are all really good design choices. I mentioned when they added the Enigma pulling things, it's actually really interesting. If someone is moving in the direction that it pushes or pulls, respectively, them, based on what ability you're talking about, it increases their movement speed by that amount. If you're running away, it effectively reduces their movement speed by that amount. If they're running diagonally, it's a little janky, and it works really well for getting people to unintentionally move further than they intended or just slow them down. It's really a very powerful effect. I'm just going to have trouble with it with the with my motor symptoms and yeah, vector targeting, quick casts. But all of these are really well done. I like these. That's going to be really strong. Windrun Undispellable especially is going to hurt as an Oracle player. Winter Wyvern. Agility gain reduced. That's fair. Arctic Burn attack range bonus decreased a bit later. Movement speed slow reduced. Winter's Curse cast range reduced. That's completely fair. Cold Embrace Shard cooldown reduction reduced from 5 seconds to 4 seconds. So instead of it literally having, or cutting the cooldown by a third, it cuts it by a little bit less. Percentage heal reduced by, 20%. That's fair. Roughly, yeah. That's bad math. Level 10 talent, 50 damage reduced to plus 35. The level 10 talent, they're nerfing the healing. That's completely fair. More flat damage added instead of percent damage. Arctic Burn debuff duration is a really big buff. Splinter Blast Radius. That's another big buff. You get a lot of damage out of that over the course of a game. Okay. Yeah, that's all reasonable changes. Winter Wyvern has been really strong. And that doesn't kill them. Creep damage is drastically reduced. On Paralyzing Cask. Hero damage is drastically reduced, but it has the Chain Frost effect, so it does more damage per each bounce. Which really does a hell of a lot more for the hero damage, because it was always half the creep damage, but they scale by the same amount, so this is a big buff to Witch Doctor's cask damage on heroes. Minus 25% Voodoo Restoration mana per second is a big buff, and Maledict Radius being at level 10 guarantees you'll never get to take that mana reduction, because that's the most important talent that exists for Witch Doctor. Even if you're really confident you can land it, the possibility of fitting more heroes into that radius, or just making there less room for error in general, even if you are really confident, is just really strong. Maledict Radius at 15, of course, replaced with 300 health, which is really big. Wraith King, Reincarnation cooldown is just increased substantially. 10 seconds at level 2 and 20 seconds at level 3. Gets more movement speed at level 10 instead of Wraith Fire Blast duration. At 15 gets Wraith Fire Blast stun duration again. And at 20 it gets 25% cleave instead of 16 strength. A little bit more interesting. Zeus, being the last lad and the end of this glorious patch. Lightning Bolt, mana cost reduced by 5. Vision duration increased by half a second. Static Field Shard active mana cost reduced by 25 mana. Shard active now grants 900 radius unobstructed vision around Zeus for 3 seconds, which makes sense. Gets lots of vision. Nimbus duration reduced by 5 seconds. Lightning Bolt interval increased. Bounty increased. Okay, big nerfs to Nimbus, but that's fair. Okay, this is an overall buff. Like, exponentially? What the fuck? 50% spell lifesteal, very rarely taken, to 325 range AoE Lightning Bolt. That is a huge buff to Zeus, and nearing the end of our video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate you coming to my fledgling channel. If anyone who is capable of recommending me to be hired by the Dota development team, I would unironically be very interested in doing so. I love the mechanics of this game, thinking about the numbers and such, even more than playing it, and I love that too. Sometimes more than others, but patches have been really good lately, and it seems like they're only going to be getting better. Again, thank you so much for watching. If you would, consider, please subscribe to help my channel grow. Go subscribe to the Content Stew, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.